In a world filled with nuts and chaos, one man stood erect to rise above it all. Surviving the catastrophe, he reached the climax of his journey, busting through all the pulsating obstacles in his path to become a champion. Now he's about to get nutty for all the world to see. And let's get nuts. This
What are you doing?
of Ben Thomas.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
Want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of Let's Get Nuts on the Ben Thomas Show. Hope you like that intro. Jay Feezy for the win as the narrator. You love to see it. I got a little trigger happy with my button click on the Let's Get Nuts remix soundtrack, but that's okay. It was good enough to me. I was laughing my ass off in the back. So good times. But guys, I am happy to have you here on another Sunday. We got a packed show for you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about some nostalgic warm-up, McDonald's very specifically, and then some Steamboat Willie stuff. We got Hot Toys news. We got Mars Toys news, Jazzinc news, and all of the above. But first and foremost, let's bring the narrator himself into the chat. We got Jay Feezy from Feezy's Figures here, buddy. Good to see you. How's it going, man?
What's good, man? Good. Thanks for going along with that idea. That was fun.
Funny. Yeah, I liked it. I apologize. I should have had the script up because it sounded like you came to a natural conclusion. I was like, boom, done. No, you're still going.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, it's all right. We could try it again next time.
Heck yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming back. Glad to have you here. Jay has been a little sick, a little under the weather, so let's all wish him some well wishes here for LGN today. Of course,
Thanks,
we've got Mr. Plus here with us, Jose G. Hernandez, Jose Plus himself. Good to have you back on Let's Get Nuts, buddy. How's it going?
Good to be here. Thank you so much for letting me be here again, week after week. I really appreciate it, man.
Always, man. It's fun. It's fun having you guys here. It's funny because we got I think 21 people in our show sheet chat now, but it's usually the same people that put up their hand first. And I keep saying it's first come, first serve. You want to get nutty on a Sunday, you got to let me know early. Dean was supposed to be here, but he's off to a wedding now last minute. I think that's his excuse just to have a nap, but we'll see later. We'll see later. So I asked for pictures or it didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
But Jose, good to have you back, buddy. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
And then, of course, a regular now on Let's Get Nuts, we've got Eddie Money Mendez from Insta Made Media. How's it going, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys on Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. Sunday football,
Yeah.
whoever's watching.
Heck yeah.
And Feezy, you killed it, man. You got a good voice for intros, dude.
You do.
Thanks, man.
Definitely.
Next year, if I do a holiday special like I did this year, my goal is to actually ask other creators to help me as well, so that it's not just me trying to intonate my voice in different pitches for the 12 Days of Christmas. So we'll see how it goes.
Have you,
Yeah.
have you seen that? You guys have seen Tropic Thunder, obviously, right? That's,
Yep.
It's
Okay.
been a minute, yeah.
When they're doing that, here we go again. Like Feezy has that. His voice is like perfect for that. Like just straight up trailer voice. So.
I've tried to do the same thing, but I find it comes off a little bit too throaty, and it's not for me.
Throaty.
No,
Is that how
nobody
the nut joke began? Or?
Nobody wants a throaty. Let's get
Yeah.
nuts. You know what I'm saying?
I would expect
deep
nothing
throaty,
less from
Yeah.
Ben Thomas.
100%. Man, we already have 20 people here watch it. Thanks everybody for joining. I'm going to shout to the chat here in a couple minutes because we got some regulars, some badass folks, and some tough nut crew with us, of course. But on Let's Get Nuts, I always like to start with a little bit of a warm-up. And this is a bit different this time because I'm just curious if this is nostalgic for you guys. So this popped up on my Facebook this week, and the picture reads, when McDonald's had N64s, that was the peak of humanity. And it made me laugh because I was like, damn, am I getting old at this point? When this was the system to have at the time. And you could go to McDonald's for a birthday party or anything like that and play around with some of these games. So, Jay, my first question for you is this nostalgic for you? But also, What did you do back when you had birthday parties back in the day? Like, was there a certain restaurant, a certain venue, a certain party place you guys would go? Tell me about it.
Yeah, this is I don't know if I can't remember if the McDonald's where I was growing up had these. I know just the typical department stores had these, but I don't remember this in a McDonald's. That's just maybe in a regional thing. But yeah, when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't do any of those places. It was usually just at our house, and we just had people over. I'd invite people from school or class over, and we would just have the parties there at our house. But so nothing big.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. For me, it was Pizza Hut buffet a lot of the time as well. Like, I loved Pizza Hut back then. That's back when I could actually eat gluten. Maybe it's why I can't eat gluten now. I had way too much pizza and beer as a younger man. But the Pizza Hut buffet, they'd have even like the little dessert pizzas on the side and shit.
Yeah.
And there was this one server who was always really nice to me. And as a kid, I was like, oh, she likes me, So I wanted to go to Pizza Hut every time. So I probably had no desire to talk to the Ben Thomas, but it's the way she goes. Eddie Money Mendez, is this nostalgic for you, or what did you do back in the day for birthday party, events and parties, all the good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. This is nostalgic. I feel like there was another fast food chain that did this too with a different console, but I definitely remember
Burger
McDonald's
King, maybe.
doing it. Yeah, maybe Burger King. Also, because I remember also like the forest themed, like inside, they had like little stump chairs and stuff like that. I remember stuff like that when I was a kid. But yeah, this, and then as far as like a tradition kind of thing, I grew up in a really small town that no one's ever heard of, and our like nicest restaurant was Sizzler. So whenever we
I don't know if I've heard of
had
that
like a fancy dinner or like a Sunday dinner or Friday night or something, we'd be like, it wouldn't happen all the time, like not every week, but like once a month or something, we'd be like, hey, we're gonna go to Sizzler. And I was like, no way. And Sizzler is kind of like the same thing as like Pizza Hut back then. Well, Sizzler still has them. Pizza Hut doesn't have them anymore, but they have buffets, so you can go up and get the salad bar and then the dinosaur chicken nuggets, and
Cool.
they had the ice cream bar and all that stuff. So that was. And then the Pizza Hut was always like after we won a game in Little League, like either baseball or something, you go to the Pizza Hut buffet. So
That's sweet after a game. When it was hockey, it was Dairy Queen for a dilly bar afterwards, and I always wanted a Blizzard, but the coach would only ever get us dilly bars because it was the cheapest thing. You just get a box and hand them out, right? Like, God damn it! But yeah, not to look a gift horse in the mouth, or like my friend would say, not to count the horse's teeth, which is a strange saying. Yeah, don't think that's regular or real, but Jose, same question for you, buddy. Is this nostalgic when you look at this? Are you like some of the chat members? Maybe you're too young, too old. I don't even know what age you actually are. You're an enigma. You could be like 45. Nobody even knows. Where are you at, buddy? Is this nostalgic for you?
Like
Me and Eddie are the same age, so
Oh, nice. Nice.
yeah. Actually, I don't recall them having the Nintendo 64 in the McDonald's when I was there. I just remember the play sets, like the kind of like you could go in there and take off your shoes and roam around.
Yeah.
So usually it was this and Chuck E. Cheese for me. So Chuck E. Cheese is kind of where we would hang out.
Cheese.
And
Yeah, I don't know if we had Chuck E. Cheese in Canada. If we did, I think I missed it, because I'm 36, so I'm a little older than you guys. So maybe I just missed it slightly. But yeah, hard to say.
yeah.
dang, no Chuck E. Cheese. So what was like the
The
what
pl-
was like
the
the
play
like?
place?
Do you have Dave and Buster's?
No.
So what's like the place that's like arcades and pizza, or like
Yeah.
arcades and food for you guys?
We had a place called the Palisade, but it was like bowling and arcade games and stuff like that. So
Kind of same.
maybe similar.
Yeah.
I do think Chuck E. Cheese eventually came, but as I said, I think I was too young for it, or too old for it at that point. So hard to say, but
I see.
interesting. We're getting lots of responses from the chat. Let's check in with everybody there. Quick reminder, we do have the Tough Nut membership emojis. If you're a member in the chat right now, definitely throw some emojis down. Let us see some of those badges there. We got the nut button, we got the happy nut, the jumbo nut, of course, the Tough Nut to Swallow Nut, which looks like a vampire. I'm going to see if Dean will change that for me. And the Ninja Turtle emoticons or emojis. And then, of course, the nut badges. Now, I've updated the slides for everybody. Most people who have joined the membership now are already a Bat Nut Begins, but we do have a few up-and-comers in there. The Dark Nut is the next level. A Live Long and Nut after that. The Terminator is my favorite. And then you'll eventually become a Leonardo Nut if you're here for us long enough. Let's shout out the members first, and then we'll check in with the chat. We got the Tough Nut crew of Elvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, Six Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob SquareBalls, The _ Empire Strikes, Pete Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, and 14 Wellington. 19 people already members, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're interested, the link is in the chat right now for you if you want to be part of that crew there with us. Otherwise, I'm just happy to have you guys here. In terms of the chat itself, we got a member himself, 14 Wellington, here with us. We got Figurecraft in the chat. Happy Sunday, everyone. Eddie Rodriguez. We got the low-key collector himself. Let's get nuts, fellas. You know it, buddy. Still looks like a banana in that picture for me, but that is okay. Love you either way. Feezy Figure Zero of himself. We got Action Figure Academy. Hello, Benjamin. Good to see you, buddy. Thalia Meyer. Loco Lou here. What's poppin', people? Love to see it. I love you here, buddy. Thanks so much. Aaron Collects. He's been all over the place lately. We're going to have to get him on a Let's Get Nuts stream here, I think, soon. Tim Harvey, the man himself. Good to see you here, buddy. He says, hey, Ben, what's going on? We got Jazzy here. What's up, crew? SpongeBob SquareBalls watching from the sideline. We love you, buddy. Hope you're being classy as always over in your living room there and rocking some funky glasses. We got member himself, King Dingaling. He says, what's up, guys, with the tough nut emoji. Derekis Maximus here in the chat. In a world where Ben Thomas has a show. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. We got the _Empire Strikes member here as well. Hey, y'all. Good to see you, buddy. We got the Sith Scale Collector member. What's up, everybody, with a nut fun. Derekis says Chuck E. Cheese, so for him. JB, now I like this answer. I think I probably was too young, but Hooters is great for birthday parties. I will keep that under advisement. I don't actually think Hooters exists anymore in Canada, which is a little bit sad when you think about it. We got Christian Lopez here in the chat with us. He says, my McDonald's actually had a bunch of die-cast cars behind glass on display. That's interesting. That's cool. Wow, I've never seen this in McDonald's. X-Men Supreme says, holy shit, I'm here. I'm working at an event right now, but I'm going to be here until something breaks. Fair enough. Thanks for listening in at least, buddy. We appreciate you. Justin McFly here with a thumbs up and a cheers. Heck yeah. I've got a beer on the side here, so once I'm finished my coffee, maybe we'll get a little wild. We got Big Dog Pound with a woo! Love to see it. Good to see you here, buddy. Actually got a noise complaint last week. I think I might have told you guys on Collecting Weekly, but I'm trying to be a little less aggressive in the afternoon here. But for Let's Get Nuts, what can you say, right? We got Justin McFly here as well at work, peeping in, dropping a like. Thanks for doing so, buddy. We definitely appreciate that. We have Cylon here as well. Hello, everyone. What's going on, buddy? Did I get you? Did I get everybody? I think maybe. Did I miss anybody? Let's see. I think I got everybody. Action Figure Academy. Last one in. Right in there. And, of course, 12-inch Moose Stream. Yeah, thank God I woke up. Thank God you did too, buddy. Like for the show or just like in life? You know?
Holy shit.
Just in general. I'm happy you're here. Moose has sent me some Batman the Animated figures. I'm waiting on an Alfred and a Scarecrow. That should probably be here like any day this week, so maybe I'll pop that up on New This Week Tuesday night on Collecting Weekly if it's here in time, but we'll see how she goes. Guys, let's get into the topics because we do have a big show to watch. Oh, and apologies, Jose G. Hernandez, Jose Plus himself, just became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, buddy. Let's give you something here, something a little special for Jose since he's always in the chat with us. Give me 1 second. There we go. Here we go.
You love me. You really love me.
That's how I feel about you, Jose, okay?
Thank
Probably
you.
more aggressive than you intended, but that's fine. We're good.
No,
We're
I
good.
love that movie, so
There you go.
I'll take it.
Appreciate you becoming one, buddy, and we'll get you in the slide here for the next show.
No
okay?
worries.
Guys, let's move into this because this year marks 2024, of course, new year, and Steamboat Willie, as most of you know, who kind of eventually becomes the iconic Mickey Mouse that we're all familiar with, is now available to be used as free use for a certain amount of content, assuming that you're using very much this particular likeness, not much of a divergence from it for sure. But this, last couple of weeks here since January 1st hit, since 2024 hit, I've been seeing some interesting content that's potentially on the horizon. So from Screen Rant here, it talks a little bit about Steamboat Willie project that they shouldn't have done. Some of the projects are already a little sketchy, and they think that because some of it's fallen into public domain, you can just make up a version of it and put it out into the market. Now, that's not actually totally true. So some of the content is potentially up for some legal battle down the line here. Because, of course, we all know the mouse is a little crazy, and he'll come for you if you're trying to, make it look a little bit too much like Mickey, right? So I wanted to hear from you guys, because this is actually something that I think is kind of cool. If things hit public domain, we're getting into that time period now in life where a lot more is going to start hitting domain and giving us the ability to tweak things. And like, I even thought about putting Steamboat Willie somehow in the Let's Get Nuts intro, because why the hell not? It might be kind of fun, right? But at what point do you guys think that it shouldn't really be used, or they shouldn't tweak it? So, Jay, I'll start with you because you haven't been on the show in a little while. They did a Winnie the Pooh one that you saw here kind of in the picture on the left, and now, kind of a teasing of this Mousetrap movie or whatever. Do you think you'd be excited to see kind of a new version of Steamboat Willie out there because of its availability in the public domain, or do you think they should leave this kind of stuff alone? What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, I'm definitely. I look forward to seeing what other people come up with. Right, it just kind of. I think a lot of us share that thought with other properties too. I know games, especially, kind of get that. Like, take some existing IPs and characters and see what other developers can do. So I think it's kind of along the same lines, taking an idea and seeing what other people can come up with it. I mean, yeah, the characters, the likeness is there, but this. Of course, they're gonna do horror, right? So it's like they got 2 horror movies coming out with. Steamboat Willie, Big Willie style. And there's also a horror game in the works too, a survival horror game, co-op game. That has like a likeness to Steamboat Willie. There's an adult film coming out. No, actually, I just made that last one.
Oh my god!
But I wouldn't be surprised though.
I was like, oh really? Oh okay, nice. Put it on the list.
Yeah, check. No, but yeah, I look forward to seeing what other people come up with on this. And it could be exciting times.
Heck yeah. Jose, I know you're a big horror movie fan, for sure. Have you had a chance to see like the Blood and Honey version, the Winnie the Pooh one? Has that been kind of on your watch list if you haven't? And what do you think of them, their ability to kind of turn this into games or porn or horror or whatever they want? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. The public domain space is interesting, and then one of the first things they do is right off the bat go and make it a low budget horror movie with these new things that enter the public domain. So I never had a chance to check out the Winnie the Pooh. I think I saw the trailer, but I don't know, it didn't really interest me. It just seems like they're just trying to capitalize on it really quickly. I mean, this Mousetrap movie, the trailer was out for like within the day or so. So it's like they already knew it was going to reach out
for it.
Yeah. So I don't really have high hopes for the quality of these films, but I mean, they might be entertaining. Who knows?
I think that they'd at least have the ability to be entertaining. I definitely agree with that. I do think clearly like people have been waiting for it, because like you said, if a trailer went up like a day later, like they've been prepping for this for a while. It would be interesting, maybe on a future Let's Get Nuts show, let's look into some of the next coming years of possible public domain stuff that's available. It might be kind of fun to see what we could predict for content down the line, especially with drier content years like this year. I mean, we're only going to get one Marvel movie this year. Like, what else might we see, right? So now, Eddie, would you collect a 1/6 scale Mousetrap horror figure for your collection, and what are your thoughts of this content hitting public domain? Good idea, bad idea? Do you think they should stick with it, stay away from it? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't think I have as much of a much thought behind it as you guys do. Like, it's funny though, I did see the other day, I saw like these horror Mickey figures, like they're third party, but I'd never seen anything like that. Now this makes sense because I didn't know that this was a thing, so now it makes sense that they're doing that. But no, I don't even collect regular horror stuff, so this is like, even like, I don't like seeing things used for see, I can't say that phrase because then a bunch of comments gonna come up. I don't like seeing IPs being used in ways that are like way way outside of what they're made for. You know what? So like Mickey as a horror thing is like, or even Winnie the Pooh, like I could care way less. I don't even care about horror, so to see something that doesn't go in horror, it's like I don't care at all. But there are some funny clips of like Mickey doing bad things, like from Family Guy or on Instagram and stuff, and it's funny. But like, yeah, I'm not really into that. But I do think they say it's like open domain, but like it's still Mickey, right? So I feel like if you go too far with Mickey, you know, the mouse is gonna come after you, much like he is in these pictures here. So
Well, and it's interesting you say that too, because even with Let's Get Nuts, right? So Dean drew all of these badges for me, including the dark nut up in the top right corner. Now on TeePublic, I'm able to upload designs on there. So like anybody can get like a Let's Get Nuts sweater or shirt or mug or sticker or whatever. And any of these characters, my intention was if you wanted a shirt or a mug or a sticker or whatever, you could get it if you wanted. Warner Bros. Slapped me with content restriction on the Dark Knight, or the Dark Nut, because they said it was too close or too similar to the IP as it is, and they struck it, even though it is technically like original artwork from Dean. It's not even a bat on the front; it's a nut with wings. Like it's a whole bunch of stuff, but it's just too similar. So I don't know if it was the Dark Nut, the name or the title that I tried to give it specifically, or the likeness, or both. But this was still too close for me to be able to use and profit from, which I think is a little shitty, because when you go through TeePublic, there's so many things on there that you're like, how did that clear? But Warner Bros. Is a little more intense, and I think the mouse is too.
they had In and Out on CW for a while on TeePublic, but I think it's just the IP that you pick, or you know, whatever. Like DC and Disney seem to be the two biggest ones. They're gonna come after you the quickest, like especially for Batman. So
Absolutely. X-Men Supreme is very animated how he feels about this. He says, this is just stupid. The Winnie the Pooh thing, the Mickey thing, just stupid. Don't care whose IP it is. Just stop putting this lame crap out into the world. That's amazing. We got Akira joining the chat here. He says, sorry, Beta Crew, can't watch live, but I'll catch up on the show later. Not a problem, buddy. Stay nutty. Hope to see you next week. Hope you enjoy the show on the replay for sure. But yeah, guys, let us know. Do you feel like X-Men Supreme? Is this lame shit? Should we just not see this in our content? Should we stay away from it? Should we come up with some new ideas, some original stuff? My challenge there is a lot of original ideas. Nobody goes to watch that either. And it's a bit of a challenge. When it's a recognizable IP, it often actually gets more of an audience, which is shitty, because we're kind of teaching them how to treat us a little bit, right? We're teaching that these developers and this content creators what we'll watch. And so let us know what you guys think. And if you're like Eddie and you're just neutral in life, you're just a medium steak for the day, totally okay as well. Just let us know what level of steak cooking you are. Let's move on, guys. This came up this week. We're looking at Sydney Sweeney, my apologies, she is a sweetie, I'm sure, but Sydney Sweeney in a Spider-Girl costume. Let's call it a Madame Web costume for now. I did want to bring this up because I did pull up the trailer without sound so we could take kind of a look through it as we talk about it. I gotta say, I haven't been all that excited about the film, to be honest, up until I saw the trailer. I did think it was kind of a cool concept, and some of the suit designs look okay. I like some of the actresses that they've planned to put in here. But on the other hand, I feel like this movie absolutely has the potential to be like either amazing or like totally shit. So my thoughts go to you first, Jay. Is this a film that you're excited to see? Do you feel like the sex appeal from some of these actresses are a draw? Or if the movie's shit, do you think this will kind of be hopefully like squashed and nobody will watch it and pretend it like it's not a canon film of any sort? What are your thoughts there?
I think it has a draw. Just based on this trailer so far, I think it seems a little more interesting than the previous Sony Spider-Verse films. I'm kind of neutral right now. I mean, yeah, it does look cool, but you know, again, we all know that trailers are meant to pull people in, but sometimes the final product doesn't end up delivering. You know, so this, you know, there's some cool concepts in here. There's some other things that are kind of cheesy and like hand-holdy based on that. But no, it does look cool. It looks interesting. I always try to keep an open mind. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm just not getting high. I'm not having high expectations or high hopes for this. I'm trying to go in as neutral as possible. But it looks cool. Though.
Do you think you would collect 1/6 scale figures from the film even if you didn't love the movie?
Yeah, I would if they did them right. I mean, I'm getting Morbius. I know a lot of people were shitting on that that figure, but I already pre-ordered it when it first came out because I thought it looked cool, and so I have no I didn't I agree with most people. The movie wasn't great, but the figure itself is cool. So if these figures are kind of similar where they look good, but the movie ends up not being that great, then yeah, I would still get them as long as the figure is cool, right? Just the figures. It's a good figure. It's a good figure.
Absolutely. Some of the villains, like some of the villain shots, look a little weird, like a little wonky to me. Like some of the girls in their costumes, I think, look pretty good, and then there's the villain. It looks like that kind of pops out of nowhere, and he looks a little janky to me. But or he or she, I'm not sure. I guess
Yeah.
what sex it is. But Jose, you're a big movie buff.
It's a guy. Yeah.
Guy. Okay. What are your thoughts on Madame Web here? Kind of the initial teaser trailer. There was a longer trailer that they put out. It was almost like 3 minutes. I didn't decide to post that one, but is this something you're excited to watch? If the movie is good or bad, would you collect the 1/6? What are you thinking?
I mean, it would be always interesting to add Spider-Woman type characters to the collection, especially characters that we've never seen in live action before. She's playing Julia Carpenter, which is a Spider-Woman character. So that'd be cool. And I'm not sure about the quality of the film. The trailer, a lot of people are not thinking it looks very good. Very CW quality is what I've been hearing. So I'm not sure how good the movie will actually be. It does have good talent attached to it. A lot of these actresses are in multiple projects, doing multiple things. So I think that there's a possibility that it could be at least decent, but it's going to upset people because it's definitely Marvel adjacent, and it's not really connected to a lot of things that we're used to. So I kind of have like a wait and see approach to see how good the movie is actually. If it's decent, it's so. But the costumes look really great, I think, personally.
Even this one, like with the spider arms kind of thing coming out the back, and I like her afro. I think that's pretty cool. Like I could see this being a really cool line to collect, even if the movie's not the greatest. But it could also be one of those ones that people pass on because they don't like the film, and then in a year from now, 2 years from now, they become chases, right? It's hard. Like it's so hard to know. Eddie, what are your thoughts on this upcoming film? I feel like this movie kind of came out of nowhere a little bit for some reason. Like it went from being like I'd never even heard of this film before, and that suddenly it's already almost a thing. Would you collect the 6 scale if you didn't like it? What are your thoughts on the film and 6 scale future here?
Yeah, I agree with you that I feel like it came out of nowhere. I know there was teases or like mentions of it a while ago, but it kind of feels like everybody forgot about it, and then there was a trailer for it. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for it. I'll probably see it in the theater just because I like going to the theater and seeing movies, and I have that AMC pass, so it's like I have the pass anyway, so I can go see movies. So I'll see it for that reason, but I don't have a lot of hope, and I probably wouldn't collect figures unless it was absolutely amazing, because really the only thing about it that interests me is the fact that they're in the world of Spider-Man characters and they have the suits, and maybe the suits will be cool, but I don't have a lot of hope. And these days I don't buy a ton of Spider-Man characters in 1/6 anyway, like just Toby and Andrew, and I'm not even getting the villains that I used to love from those movies. And I would be more inclined to buy 1/12 scale figures, like if SHF made these, or even Marvel Legends, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I'm probably the least excited of any of you guys to see this. I have no hope, really.
Absolutely. Cis-Scale Collector says, I'd rather watch the Disney IP Horrorverse. Eclectic Collector is here joining us, says hello, everyone. Let's see here. Says that Cis-Scale says, this film will not be good. You are probably going to get 5 minutes of screen time in the suits. Yeah, it's hard to say. Obviously, like there's some star power there as well, so they're going to want to kind of highlight those women, I think, a little bit. Primetime reviews here. Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Sunday. Good to see you here, buddy. Definitely good to have you. Aaron Collect says, what gets me upset is that there were about 3 Venom movies without him fighting Spider-Man. Agreed, right? Like there was none of that kind of came into the Marvel canon, which was unfortunate. And even when they had that tease of Venom seeing Spider-Man on the TV and seemingly recognizing him, at least as of right now, that didn't really go anywhere. It is interesting to have a Madame Web movie, I think, without a Spider-Man in it, but I still think that they could do it, or maybe it's a setup for the future. If it takes, it's hard to know.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we've talked about this before. I mean, the rumor is that it's a movie, like it's a period piece. It takes a place, like, well, not period piece, but it's like in the past. It takes place in like the early 2000s, and supposedly Peter Parker doesn't exist, but these girls are supposed to be, you know, these Spider Women, and this guy's from the future, and he's chasing them down so they don't become Spider Women, yada yada. So
interesting,
kind of like a very Terminator-esque type film.
Cool idea still. The idea, or the concept at least, does get me excited to see at least what happens with it. And to be honest, I'm kind of rooting for it to succeed, because I like interesting new concepts as well. I don't like them just going back to what feels like the same well all the time. Like if it can be good, it might get me excited about other content that exists, right? So be interesting to see. This reminds me of almost like the symbiote spider suit, which I kind of like the black suit with the white logo. I wonder if,
and it's pretty accurate to the comics.
Is it? Cool. I wonder if they'll ever have like any kind of venomized female symbiote as well at some point, or who knows? I don't know. I think it's cool.
I always thought they could have done She-Venom from the movies, because the Michelle Williams character wore the Venom symbiote a few times in the first movie and in the second one. So I always thought that it was possible they could have done it, even a third party, but no one did. So
interesting. Yeah, that seems like a miss, honestly. I think a lot of people would get that in their collection for sure. So, guys, we have almost 40 people here watching live. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us on Sunday. Once again, I know football playoffs are on and all that stuff as well, so we appreciate you doing sports and YouTube at the same time, or just YouTube if that's what brings you here. We love you guys. Let's get into the next topic, but let us know what your thoughts are on Madame Web. Is this something you're excited to see? And would you collect the 1/6 scale? Let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to respond there after the show. This is exciting for me. I got a little excited this week because a couple weeks ago we talked about Supergirl, and we talked about how the previous actress, can you remind me of her name? Thank you. Sasha Calle is likely not going to be in the next kind of James Gunn's version of Supergirl, that they're looking at recasting the role, which some people were upset about because I thought she did a great job in The Flash. Other people were like, no, if it's going to be a redone universe, let's move on and find somebody else, right? These are two that I have really enjoyed watching as Supergirl. Melissa Benoist. I always thought she was amazingly beautiful, and especially in the first 1 or 2 seasons of Supergirl, I really enjoyed the show. It did fall off for me a little bit, as CW sometimes does, but still I thought she was a great casting for Supergirl, and I did like Sasha in the film. But this week we're getting a couple rumors of potential casting. So on the Collider side, it says James Gunn Supergirl reportedly taps Millie Alcock for a screen test. You may recognize her from the recent House of the Dragon show as Rhaenyra. She was kind of the younger version of her. And to be honest, she was one of my favorite parts of the show. I was actually a little sad when they converted to the older actress, even though she did a really good job as well. I was really bought into this Rhaenyra as the character. And I like the actress, and I think she's got some star power for sure. But then there's also saying here that there's also, so Millie Alcock, Amelia Jones, and Meg Donnelly have all been potentially, invited to screen cast for the role of Supergirl. So I wanted to go to you, Jose, first. What are your thoughts on, either Millie or any of the other 2 women there being cast as Supergirl, or do you envision somebody else? Like, do you think that this is a good potential casting from James Gunn?
They're interesting choices for sure. We're not sure the validity of the rumor, all right, of these actresses. I'm sure there's several actresses going in, not just these 3. Millie was great on House of Dragon for that first half of the season where she was portraying Rhaenyra. So she's cool. I know recently she was doing something and she was like doing like Broadway or something in London. She was on a play recently as well. So she's still acting. She's still doing things. I believe Emilia Jones is the other actress in the middle. I'm familiar with her from this Apple TV movie that was called Coda, that won a lot of Best Picture nominations and things like that. I think Best Supporting Actor won the Oscar for that as well. She was really, really good at that. So if you're not familiar with her, that's kind of basically her movie. So Emilia Jones is the one in the middle. So she'd be great too. I'm not familiar as much as with Meg. I believe that's her name, right? Meg. So I'm not as familiar with her, but from what I've seen in the comments when this was put out there on the internet, apparently she's pretty solid as well. So there's all good choices. And I did see that James Gunn addressed it on his Threads page, where he basically stated that there was like half truth to, some of these headlines, and he can't really address them because there's half truths in them. So, we'll see.
Fair enough. Well said, buddy. I think it's interesting with this show because obviously it's hard to know sometimes what's real news, what's not. It's one of the reasons I bring my fact checker on with me consistently here. Jose knows, but I still get excited about possible casting rumors like this, especially if I like the actress. Now, one of the chat members here, let me just see who it was. Field Burn 83 says, "Don't forget about Helen Slater's Supergirl."
Yes.
Absolutely, and no slight against Helen here by any stretch. I was thinking more of the more recent memory actresses who have played, but she did an amazing job back in the day. She absolutely personified Supergirl in so many ways. I did love that they brought her back for the one CW show as kind of a nod to her a little bit, which I appreciated as well. I thought that was really well done. But she was freaking awesome here for sure. So yeah, good shout out there, good sir. Thank you so much. Let's see here. There was another great comment. What did I want to see? Oh, from Niculio. Good to see you here, buddy. By the way, Meg Donnelly is cool. She's the voice of Supergirl in the current DC animated films and looks most like she could be David Cornsweat's cousin. Interesting. I did not know that. That's good to know. Eddie, what do you think about a possible Supergirl casting here of one of these actresses? Do you think that they should have stuck with some of the other iterations now that you're seeing it? What are your thoughts there?
This is kind of like a nothing burger for me. I don't care, dude. I don't love or hate these actresses.
Sure.
I don't love Rhaenyra or Rhaenyra's. I don't even know how to say her name.
Rhaenyra. You got
Rhaenyra. I didn't love that character in House of Dragon. That's like my least favorite character in House of Dragon.
Really?
So, and I'm not saying it's her fault, but when I see her face, I think of Rhaenyra, and I didn't like that character. So, and actually, I didn't even have really any thoughts about it until whoever just said that Meg Donnelly played her a Supergirl in the animated series, the voice anyway, and then the fact that she does look like the guy who's cast as Superman, that makes me want her now to play it, because that's true. She does kind of look like she could be related to him. So
A corn sweater self.
yeah. But I don't. And then I was trying to think, like, before you called me, like, who would I want to play a Supergirl? And I don't really know any young actresses that I would pick over any of these girls. I'm sure they'd all do great. So as long as it's cast great and he does a good job, I'm happy. I don't have much more than that thought right now. But also, I was gonna say Laura Vandervoort from Smallville.
Smallville.
She's great, Supergirl.
She was.
I met her
Yeah.
a couple years ago
cool.
at LA Comic-Con,
nice.
which was really cool. So
I loved Smallville back in the day. It was a great show.
Smallville too.
When you close your eyes, then Eddie, what do you picture as a Supergirl? Like, do you picture like the blonde look? Do you like the Sasha Calle look? Like, what are?
Dude, I liked her in The Flash. So if they stuck with that, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I do, when I picture Supergirl, I picture the very generic blonde-haired Supergirl.
Like this kind of look.
Yeah, exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Feezy, what about you, good sir? Is this something that got you excited to hear about some of the possible casting rumors? Or were you kind of like Eddie, where you're like, yeah, let's just see what happens. Doesn't really matter as long as it's played well, as long as it's written well. Because you made a great point, I think, Eddie, in terms of Millie there, even in House of Dragon. Like, if her performance didn't really stand out to you, then sometimes having somebody who's a little recognizable can actually take you out of the immersion of the film. So, yeah, what do you think, Feezy, in terms of that?
Yeah, I agree. I think was it Millie? No, Emilia, who's the Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon? Sorry.
Millie Alcock.
Millie, yeah. I thought she did a good job on the show, but yeah, nothing really stand out. So I agree with Eddie on that. And as far as anyone I'm looking forward to seeing, yeah, I don't have any preferences. I was thinking, after when you sent us what we're going to be discussing, I didn't know who these other actresses were, Millie and Meg, so I had to look them up. And so I'm not familiar with any of their work or how what their acting chops are like. But based on appearances, I would probably say if they're going for like a younger look, Emilia Jones would probably be well suited for that. If they're going for like a more older Supergirl, then I think Meg Donnelly. I don't know their actual ages, but again, it's just based on initial appearances. I did read that there's a rumor. Last I read, it was a rumor that they're gonna this version of Supergirl will first appear in Superman Legacy, that the upcoming movie, and so that'll kind of set up like her own movie. So maybe it depends on when that is gonna take place. I think I had read that there was Gunn was saying that that's going to be more an experienced Superman. It won't be an origin story. It'll be more experienced. And so it seems like later on down the line, so they'll be older. That doesn't necessarily mean that Supergirl will be older, but if it's kind of similar, then I would probably think they're going to go for an older Supergirl look, in which case Meg Donnelly might be better suited. But again, I don't know how their acting is.
It's so hard to tell ages nowadays, right? Because like even when you look at Millie here on the left in House of the Dragon, she looks really freaking young. But then just with the different hairstyle and makeup job on the next picture, she looks quite a bit older. So it's like it's so hard to know. It's so hard to know. But
so Millie and Meg are both 23, and Emilia, Fizzy was right, is 21.
21.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Okay.
They're still
so
pretty
young.
close to it. Yeah.
Still pretty young.
Yeah,
absolutely. Collection Obsession says Helen Slater's Supergirl movie 40 year anniversary this year. We should put that on the list for collecting weekly movie of the week then at some point, Eddie, potentially, because I don't know if I've ever seen it, to be honest. If I'm being fully honest, I don't know if I've seen it.
Or at least when I was really young, and I don't remember that much of it. So
absolutely. Shiny here, of course, always saying, damn it, I was hoping John Cena would be Supergirl. The bone structure, I mean, maybe. You can see it, but...
You can't have a...
He was a mermaid in Barbie.
You can't have a Supergirl that makes Superman look tiny.
Fair.
Fair. You want to see how he looks? Like I said, look him up. Mermaid in Barbie.
Yeah,
that's right. Yep, and 14 Wellington says Eddie equals the nothing burger expert.
That may be true. It's hard to be excited for superhero stuff, at least anyway these days. But I was thinking about this. I don't want to draw like a big tangent away from the show sheet or anything, but this just popped in my head when we were talking about it.
Love to see it.
The thing that I feel was horribly done with this DC universe that we have currently is the fact that they tried to jump into it so quick to catch up with Marvel that they didn't build up the love for it, and that's and it went all over the place. They didn't really focus on anything, and that's why we're already getting it redone so soon, and I feel like the same thing is happening now where he's getting in. He's like, can we focus on Superman Legacy, which is your first film? Just focus on that first and build up your but he's trying to get a whole roster. But also, in today's day and age, you got to sign contracts and stuff, so maybe he's worried about securing some of these actors and actresses for years to come. But still, I just feel like he's got his mind all over the place. I just want him to focus on Superman. Let's make a good movie and then go from there.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right about that. Now, I would still challenge that even the first phase of Marvel had movies that people didn't love. While they were all pretty standalone, they were a good entry point for anybody who maybe hadn't seen some of the other films yet. You could watch Thor and know what was happening. You could watch Captain America, the first Avenger, and know what's happening. But some of those films, people didn't love right away. It wasn't until they got further into Marvel that they became kind of those fan favorites, that the ones that everybody seemed to love all of a sudden, right? And as soon as Marvel even has started to get to that point where it feels a little oversaturated, a little directionless, it's a little hard to know what's going on, people have been calling for a redo, right? Reset button, let's start again sort of feel. So I don't even know if resetting these universes is always the right call, or if they should stick to it and just develop them better. But I agree with you, Eddie, the way that DC had jumped in did feel a little bit like, look at our team, before we even knew who the hell the team were and why we should care, other than the fact that they were iconic names. Like, everybody knows who Superman and Wonder Woman is, but if we don't care about the people playing them yet, that's really difficult. Because I thought Man of Steel was amazing. I thought they did a great job with Man of Steel, and then from there it did what it did. So we'll see. Derrickis says, I would kill for a Hot Toys Helen Slater Supergirl. Absolutely. Yeah, I keep wanting to call her Helena Carter for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. But guys, let us know. Are you excited for the possible casting here of Supergirl? If you had another person you'd peg for Supergirl, that sounds gross. Who else would you choose for your Supergirl, and why? Let me know, and we'll post that up here for sure. Now, guys, last week we also talked about, on our Collecting Weekly show, Eddie and I anyways, we talked a little bit about the direction of Star Wars. What's going on? What can we expect? What do we hope for? And then this week, this popped up. What we're looking at here is a slide that says The Mandalorian and Grogu is officially heading to the big screen. The first movie since 2019's Rise of Skywalker. Jon Favreau directing, with a possible release date of the 19th of December 2025. Very excited to get back to Star Wars here in the cinema where it belongs. So this is a strange one for me, because I've seen a lot of people lately say that they've got kind of Star Wars and Mandalorian specifically fatigue, even Grogu fatigue. I think it's an interesting choice that they're pushing this towards a feature-length film. Now, I also kind of laughed because, in my opinion, there was lots of season 3 that I enjoyed of The Mandalorian, but I still felt like they could have trimmed the fat a little bit and turned it into like a 2.5-3 hour movie, and it might have actually been a slightly more consolidated story, like they've done, like some of the creators have done out there with shows like Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi, where they've kind of recut the show a little bit and actually turned it into something that's really good and really strong. Is that what Disney here is doing? Did they realize they just don't really have enough Mandalorian content to make 6 episodes, so they instead said, screw it, let's make a movie? Or do you think it has more to do with budget? That film budgets typically have a little bit more juice, a little more slush. They can do a little bit more cinematically. This could be a really epic and cool looking story. I don't know how excited I should be or want to be. I'm kind of on the fence. I felt like Mandalorian season 3 with the way that they ended it. Hopefully this isn't a spoiler, but when they kind of zoom out the black hole thing, kind of like they used to do in Looney Tunes, that to me felt like the end. And so now that we're getting the movie, it seems strange to me. So, Fizi, I want to go with you first, buddy. Are you excited about the news of Mandalorian here? We're about a year away, but with Jon Favreau in the director's seat, that's also kind of exciting. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I agree. There's kind of some fatigue there. I'm not gonna lie, but I still enjoy Star Wars. I'll still watch. Star Wars is Star Wars. But Mando and Grogu specifically, I think we're getting a lot of, which is tough, right? Because some people, when there's not enough content, they're like, give us more Mando or just give us more Star Wars, and they do, then it's too much. So there's like that balance, right, of like how much content to put out. And I think we got hit with a lot of it recently. But yeah, I think I want to say I'm more on the side of looking forward to this one. From what I was reading, this is supposed to take place during like the New Republic era, and it's supposed to be a closeout to Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, and the Mando shows. So there's like a potential there, it sounds like, for this to be kind of somewhat of like a Avenger Endgame-esque type of thing, where everyone comes in. I don't know. Again, that's just kind of probably speculation. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. That was just reports from Star Wars Celebration. So it kind of seems like it could be exciting. I don't know, good stuff. But again, Star Wars is Star Wars to me. I wouldn't mind watching it and seeing what comes of it. We'll see what happens.
2 questions for you, Feezy. Do you think we're going to get another Hot Toys Mandalorian in a different suit or an updated suit? And who else would you rather have a story about if it wasn't Mandalorian? Is there another character, another storyline of Star Wars you'd be more excited to see in film format?
I want to say yes. If he has modifications to his armor or to his suit at all, then there's probably most likely Hot Toys going to capitalize and make another figure of that, right? I mean, the money's on the table, so people, they love their Mando fig. So I don't know if it's different enough from the 2.0. Then yeah, I think they'll pick that up. As far as characters, there's nothing that comes to mind immediately that I want to see have their own story from what they're already doing. Yeah, so I'll come back to you on that one if I think of anything. But at the moment, yeah, there's no one that jumps out from what we've seen already in the shows in the Disney Plus series.
That's fair. Who would you rather have a story about than Feezy? Yoda? Or
You mean
let us know in the
Grogu or-
chat. No, Yoda. Like, because we've never
Oh.
really seen an origin story
Oh, I
of Yoda
see.
where it came from.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe Darth Maul. Yoda or Darth Maul? Who would you rather have?
I would say Yoda because we've seen more of Darth Maul's background in Attack of the Clones. They did a good job, which was awesome. By the way, I love those arcs. I love his arcs in there. I would say probably more of Yoda. If I had to choose between the two, I would want to see more of Yoda's history and some prequel movies for him.
Well said. I'm in the same boat. Derek Smackman says Frog Lady, the series. I love to see it. Jose, what about you, good sir? Are you excited for the Mandalorian film? Do you feel like what I feel like? Maybe they just didn't have enough content for another show, or do you think this is actually like a purposeful direction? And do you think we're going to see more Hot Toys come from this film? What are your thoughts?
Hot Toys definitely. I think we'll definitely see another Mando. Not sure how or what. Maybe he gets a new costume. I mean, they always do that, right? So maybe he gets a new costume or, battle damage version, or I don't know. Something's going to happen. But I think this is going to be some sort of event film that he's on this one mission, and they perhaps they didn't have enough for the fourth season, and so they kind of wanted to have an event film, and so that's why they're doing this first. With a character I think for the most part is well liked. There is again some people that are a little over the Mandalorian and Grogu, but I think that for the most part the general audiences still want to see Grogu. So I think it's going to do well. It just depends on the story, and where it left off at the end of the last season is that he's kind of working on a case by case basis with the Rangers of the Republic. So maybe there's one big mission that he has to take care of, and that's the movie, And it kind of leads into maybe the next season or other things that they're planning.
Okay, absolutely. Fair enough. And in terms of Yoda versus Darth Maul, who would you rather have a story of?
Well, Darth Maul's story was really explored in the Clone Wars. So
true.
Clone Wars, and then also there's a bridge there, and Rebels as well. So I'm not sure you necessarily need more from Maul. It'd be interesting. But when you speak about Maul, though, what I think would be interesting is what they set up at the end of Solo, with the Crimson Dawn and with Kira and that. So kind of like the whole syndicate, the crime syndicate. That might be an interesting movie. So
yeah,
perhaps.
Absolutely. And I think we talked a little bit about, again, on Collecting Weekly last week, about the director of John Wick putting up his hand and saying, I'd like to take a crack at a Star Wars movie. Where a lot of other directors out there are kind of saying, like, no, thank you. It's too much fan backlash. If I don't make the story people like, we get, it's kind of rage. Like, nobody likes that. Now, I know you pushed back on that pretty aggressively last week, Eddie. But I got an interesting, slightly different question for you. We've seen so many cinematic video games over the last couple of years. And I've always felt like The Mandalorian could actually make a really cool video game, especially kind of like Jose was saying, that case-by-case kind of appeal to it, right? Like going out on a mission, achieving the mission, coming back and upgrading suits and stuff like that. Do you think they almost could have told a cooler story through a video game media than a film if people are starting to feel fatigued by the live action stuff? Or are you more excited to see a film and see kind of the direction of where Din Djarin ends up here? What are your thoughts?
You're asking the wrong person the video game question, because I haven't played a Star Wars video game since like the Phantom Menace video game on PlayStation 1. I don't even remember what that was on, but I hear great things, and I know there's other games I've played that have good scenes in there and good storytelling, and so I'm sure they could do well. I don't think that that's better than a movie, obviously, but people that play video games love to talk about how it tells a better story, and it's a watch. It's like, it's still a video game though. But I think a Mandalorian video game would be dope as hell. Like, that would be something that interests me. It's just I don't know. I'm like growing out of the video game phase of my life. I guess
fair.
I haven't played in a while, but
That's fair. Maybe
far
you just
as,
need the right game. You just need the right game.
maybe. I've just since Call of Duty came out, I've saw nothing else. I'm a one love video game.
Yeah, you're
guy.
literally wearing a
I
Call of
married
Duty
Call of
shirt
Duty,
right
and
now.
now they're now they suck, and I'm stuck with them. So it's literally marriage. So
Mr. and Mrs. Duty. Yeah.
and then as far as like this, man, whoever called me the nothing burger, it's not my fault. I swear to God, it's not my fault. I want to be excited. People that know me and like hang out with me in person, like I can be an excited guy. I just it's not with Star Wars and Marvel and DC these days, man. I can't do it. To me, this feels like a money grab. To me, this is like, all right, we haven't had a Star Wars film in theater for a while. What are we going to do that's going to bring the biggest box office, that's going to set us up for success for what we want to do going forward? All right, what's the best thing we've done in a while? Mandalorian. So we're going to throw a Mandalorian movie out there. People weren't that hyped with season 3. Let's do a movie, it'll get them excited, and then we could throw out our Rey movie or whatever, and it's like, crap. But I don't think this is like that exciting, because season 1 and 2 were arguably like some of my favorite Star Wars. I love the gunslinger thing with Mando. I love some of the stories they were telling, and they set up such a cool story for season 3, and then they like just didn't do it at all. It's like they showed a mythosaur face for no reason. And so if that is in the movie, then that's freaking awesome, because that's what I would want to see in movies. Is like, I want to see Mandalore the Great. I want to see that history. I want to see Mythosaur. I want to see him ride the Mythosaur. Like, I want to see the whole Darksaber. This whole thing that they set up is like, they never came to fruition on those things. It's like having Avengers without Endgame. It's like, what the heck, So
Lacks the payoff that you were looking
yeah, I would love to see that. And I don't know if the director matters that much. I know, just like with certain things, I feel like the director's just there. He has a set of rules that he has to follow, with Disney at least. So it's like, just let Favreau do it. At least Favreau and Filoni like know some of the good stuff, so they'll like try and sneak it in there. But yeah, I don't. It's gonna be 50-50 these days, and leaning more towards the crap side than the good side. So
I mean, 2 Jon Favreau films that I love, Elf and Iron Man 1, right? I mean,
yeah,
they're amazing
it's not
films.
like-
Very different types of content as well.
it's not like they can't come out with an amazing Star Wars movie these days. We had Rogue One.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, we can have a really good Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
It's just, you guys gotta do better.
Absolutely. El Profesoro here in the chat. Mario himself. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in. He says, you'd be shrinking the audience with a video game. Remember that Mandalorian introduces Star Wars to a broader audience who never watched Star Wars before. And I do agree with that, to be honest. There was how many even Hot Toys collectors were selling off their Star Wars collections because the love was really starting to diminish. And then the minute Mandalorian hit the screen again and just brought people back in, it became so huge. And even I would argue that Grogu, in a way, in my opinion, maybe this is not quite right, but I feel like Grogu kind of killed the love for Groot, Baby Groot, because everybody loved Baby Groot for a while there, and then Baby Grogu came in the picture, and then everybody needed a Grogu. And so different franchise, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe you'd be right there. I would love a Mandalorian game. Flying around with the jetpack, the different guns you could upgrade, different suit armors that you could upgrade, collecting things that are Beskar to get them melted down into cooler and more superior armor. Like, I think that there's a lot of shit that you could do. Ride the Mythosaur, like wield a dark saber. I think there's so much content that could be so good with a game, and with a film too, if it's done well. I do have confidence in Jon Favreau. If Dave Filoni is the creative director, or like the creative kind of head of Disney for these Star Wars films, and they kind of have a great working relationship, I think that it could be pretty freaking sweet. But hard to say. Derek says, I want to see a Mythosaur battle Godzilla style. Niculio says, the Jack Black Lizzo lawn bowls thing should be a Mando video game. I don't think anybody would get that. X-Men Supreme says, you've never played Knights of the Old Republic, Eddie? Probably not. Great game, though, and holds up still for its age, that's for sure. Chris Selfridge in the chat. Good to see you here, buddy. Thanks for for joining in, says, I agree that the sequel should be an alternate timeline. They can have Ahsoka just pick up a different path to change the timeline in the worlds between worlds. That could also be really cool. Knights of the Old Republic would also get my vote in terms of potentially future content. So we'll see. I would still like to see the origin story of Grogu, but also Yoda, like their species, how they came to be, how they, learned about the Force, like some of their story I think would be really, really cool as well. The Movie Canon, the member himself, says, hello collectors, good to see you here, buddy. Thanks for joining in. But guys, let us know in the chat, especially. Thanks for being so active in the chat today, guys. I appreciate you. And in the replay, if you're watching after the fact as well, are you excited about the Mandalorian film? Are you kind of holding off to see what happens, or are you just not excited at all? I would like to hear from you guys below. We got 2 more pieces of entertainment news, guys, and then I want to jump into figures and 6 scale, because we got a lot to talk about on that side as well. Echo came out this week. Now, I will caveat this, it's still a pretty new show. I've only watched the first 2 episodes so far, so I don't want to talk spoilers about Echo specifically. Please keep spoilers in the chat to a minimum as of right now. Give everybody a chance to watch it. Maybe next Sunday we'll talk a little bit about more the show itself. But from the trailers anyways, we know that Daredevil will make an appearance. Now, I loved the Netflix Daredevil shows, especially season 1 and 2. Even season 3, though, there were some really great parts to it. One of my favorite scenes of Daredevil, though, was him actually in episode 2 of season 1 on the Netflix series side, where he is donning this black outfit. And there is a fight scene in a hallway that is one of the freaking coolest fight scenes I've ever seen. And to be honest, it makes me want that 6 scale version. Now, I know Susu Toys did that version a few years back and I completely missed it. It would be something that I would look for now. But I would also actually hope that because Daredevil is kind of coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe a little bit more, that they may actually revisit all of the outfits of the character. So my question for you, Feezy, is like, A, are you a Daredevil fan? Have you watched any of Echo yet? Non-spoilers. And do you have a favorite Daredevil suit? Whether that's any of the Charlie Cox versions here, or even maybe a Ben Affleck Daredevil. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I have seen all of Echo. I just binged it and watched it all. It's
Nice.
like 5 episodes, so it wasn't too bad. So I thought that was okay. Some hits and misses. I mean, some hits and misses. As far as favorite Daredevil suit, man, it's tough because I do like Charlie Cox's Daredevil more than Affleck. As far as suit, I'll probably have to say which one was his one from his own show here. I can't remember. It was
Up at the
middle
top.
one, the top.
Top 3 there. So the top 3 all technically from his show, and I think the newest one is down below there in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So the top 3 are his show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that top middle one there, I'll probably have to see more angles, and I can't remember off the top of my head what exactly it looks like. But that one looks pretty sick. And then I don't know, I kind of like that mustard and ketchup one.
Yeah.
The design looks pretty cool. So I don't know. I would probably say that'd be a close second for me.
Did you lock in the figure on the yellow red?
No, because I wanted to wait. I only need one Daredevil, and so I figured if they're gonna come out with Born Again, Hot Toys will do another figure, and I think I want to wait for this the traditional all red suit.
Heck yeah.
So I'm holding
absolutely.
out for that one.
That's fair. Eddie, we've talked a little bit about the Daredevil red and yellow suit in the past on other collecting shows, but I don't know really your thoughts on Daredevil overall as a character. Were you more of a fan of the Ben Affleck version? Did you like the Netflix show? And is there a figure that you would collect of Daredevil if you could get your hands on one? What are your thoughts?
I love the Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah, I figured you
I
would.
love John Coffey as Kingpin.
Yeah.
Michael
Clark Duncan?
Yeah, I always call
awesome.
him John Coffey because I know him most
Yeah.
from Green Mile. But
Green Mile, yeah.
yeah, I thought he was a sick Kingpin, and
Yeah.
and I loved Ben Affleck's version, and I love the idea of a blind superhero because growing up I wore glasses, and I was always told like I had such bad eyesight that I would probably be blind by the time I was 40. So I was like that growing up. I always thought I had horrible eyesight, and now I have great eyesight. Like
No wonder
I've
you liked
been-
Batman and Robin so much.
Wow. That was good. Yeah, now my eyesight's good, so I don't know. It's a miracle. But I love Charlie Cox version. I love all the Netflix stuff, even like the shittier like Iron Fist, and I think Iron Fist was arguably the worst one. I don't know how people feel about Defenders,
was.
but even that stuff, like, I enjoy. I liked it a lot. I liked what they were doing, and so I love this version of him. I thought he's way better. Obviously, if you watch the Netflix seasons, like, that's way better than the Ben Affleck movie. But I agree with you. I definitely loved the black suit. I loved like how gritty and how, like, he would kick ass, and then when he got his ass whooped, like, it was a pretty cool brawler stuff going on in that first show. So I love all that. There's a really cool third party version of the black suit from, I think it's So Toys. They did a couple of them. I had that one. I sold it to Marco. But that's still my favorite version of any kind of Daredevil 6-scale figure out there. I never had the hot toy. I don't know why. I don't love the way he looks in the suit that much in that Netflix series. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like the shape of his head or what. He looks cooler in the black version to me. Like, that looks badass. But I never loved the way he looked in the suit. And I don't know why, but I don't. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it again, in the Disney stuff, no bueno. You could just see it in the pictures here. Like, he's smiling in the Disney ones, and in the Netflix ones, that's Daredevil. Like, he's not smiling, but in these other ones, he's already a goofy Disney character. So you need to see. But,
the rope
but
wrapped
Eddie, you
around
remember
his black suit, so cool. What were you gonna say, Jose?
You remember why he's smiling in that situation, though, right?
Yeah, I'd be smiling too.
That is one of the. So that's not spoilers. I am pissed. I am so pissed that they made him do the walk of shame
Oh my
in
god.
She-Hulk. I was like, God, just talk about, like, tearing down your character, man.
I know some people loved that too, which is funny. The walk of shame.
I mean, we love that he smashed She-Hulk. That's not tearing down your character, but
She-Hulk smash.
yeah, exactly.
She did the smashing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Crazy. Jose, what are your thoughts here on Echo, non-spoiler, or Daredevil himself? Did you have a favorite Daredevil? Was it maybe the Ben Affleck? Is it the Charlie Cox? And is there a suit that you liked the most?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I just copy exactly what Eddie says, and it's kind of redundant. But yeah, I grew up on the Ben Affleck movie, so Ben Affleck was my Daredevil. I think to this day still is my Daredevil. I'm a big fan of the movie, especially the director's cut. I like the suit, the whole biker leather jacket look. I think is pretty cool, and I like the cowl better than anything of the Charlie Cox wears. Personally, in my opinion, I think it looks cooler. And that fight with Michael Clark Duncan, if you watch the extended director's cut, is way better. I don't know. It's just, that's my Daredevil. But I do like the Charlie Cox series. I actually watched maybe like the first season and then it fell off. It just became too repetitive, or I don't know. I just felt like it was really slow and I stopped watching it. And a buddy of mine, maybe about a year ago, he kept on telling me, dude, you need to watch season 3. Watch season 3. I had stopped watching it. So I watched all through it, season 3, and I did like where it ended, because it was kind of very close to a little bit of the whole born again storyline and so on and so forth. So I did like that. His appearance in She-Hulk was a little comedic for my taste, but I actually do like the yellow and red suit. I think that's pretty cool. I've mentioned this before in another stream, but there's like this famous comic where it's him versus Spider-Man, and he's wearing the yellow and red, and Spider-Man's in this classic red and blue, and looks really, really cool. So I feel like I could pose them next to each other. I don't have it on order or anything, but maybe it's a potential thing that I might pick up. But I also did like that black outfit a lot too. But the red ones, I've never liked them. I don't think I'm not a fan of them. I think he's missing that double D, logo on his chest, and I just don't like it. No, I'm sorry. That's just.
It was one of those figures that I felt FOMO for choosing to skip, because originally I was like, okay, I like the black outfit more in the show. That's the one that I'd want if Hot Toys makes it. But then So Toys made it, and I skipped on it because it was So and I wasn't familiar with them kind of at that time very well. I ended up liking what they produced with that figure ultimately, even the rope that they did and some of the blood that they had on him and stuff. That was all really cool stuff. But I agree with you. The red suit didn't stand out enough to me. I was worried it would be like a little too similar to like my Daredevil suit, or sorry, my Deadpool suit, I should say, and some of the other Marvel characters I already had. I felt like he'd just kind of blend in a little bit. But then once he was gone and impossible to find, when I watched more of Daredevil and then he was remaking another appearance, I kind of wanted to go back and find it. And it's so expensive now on secondary. It's so hard to find. But I also recognize that they'll probably get a new Daredevil figure at some point, especially in the red outfit, maybe red and black, maybe with the double D on the chest, like you said, or something that adds to it a little bit more. The yellow and red suit right now, I've had my finger kind of over the hover button there for a little while because I was like, I don't want to make the same mistake, but I don't love it as much as some people do, and I don't have the same connection to the yellow and red that you do, Jose. So kind of on the fence.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see what it looks like when it actually comes out.
There's a leak. One of the leakers, I kind of drew how it's supposed to look, and it's mainly the same, just has less black and more red, but basically the same. So that's kind of what you'll get.
That would be a cool character for Hono to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
agreed. Comic style. Yeah, man, absolutely. Cool, guys. Let's move on. Let us know in the chat or in the replay. Do you have a favorite Daredevil suit? Why and why not? And is your favorite Ben Affleck or Charlie Cox? If you had to choose, who would be your guy? I always like Ben Affleck as it though. I felt like that movie was a little. It got hate way too much, way more than it should have. And I remember even when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman, everybody was like, "Oh, like the guy who ruined Daredevil," and it's like, Ben, come on, it was a good movie, But again, maybe it's like Eddie for Batman and Robin. Maybe
like I
it's
said,
just
watch
nostalgic.
Watch the director's cut if you have not. It
don't
definitely
think I have.
enhances the movie. Watch
I don't
it.
think I have. I'll check that one out. Cool. Guys, let's move on here, and we'll breeze over this topic just a little bit because I know you guys aren't huge Star Trek fans yourself. This got me very excited. Jonathan Frakes, who is notoriously Commander Riker in Star Trek The Next Generation, also well known for some of his directing prowess, posted the other day that there's a new Picard movie in the works, which got me very excited because at the end of Picard Season 3, it very much felt like the Season 8 of Star Trek The Next Generation that we just never got. And if he's attached to a Picard film, I could get on board with that, even though those guys are all getting a little bit old now. That last episode and that season made me cry like a child. I was so happy to see those guys make a return. But then there was also another headline in Variety stating here that Star Trek, the origin story movie set from the Andor director, Star Trek 4, is still in the works. So confirming that we should see another Kelvin timeline universe film in Star Trek 4. Now, there's a lot of people that say that that's not real Star Trek. I liked the 2009 Star Trek film for what it was. I did like the new actors. I liked that it reintroduced Star Trek to a whole new audience. But the film series or that trilogy fell off for me a little bit in Star Trek Beyond. Didn't love that movie very much, and so I wasn't totally excited about a possibility of a Star Trek 4. However, with new technology, everything kind of increasing, the kind of significance still of Star Trek just in the pop culture zeitgeist, I do think that there's a possibility it could be really cool. So keep your eyes peeled for more updates here. I will provide a bit more updates here going forward. I may see if Six Scale Mafia wants to join me and dive into some Star Trek chat at some point, because he and I are big nerds when it comes to the Star Trek stuff. But guys, I know, again, you're not huge Star Trek fans. Do you guys have any take on this at all, or we can absolutely move on if not?
Looks interesting.
We should do Star Trek as movie of the week at some point, like this first movie at least.
The first one,
because I have a friend who tells me these movies are like amazing. So, and he's not a big Star Trek guy either, and I told him I'm not. We're more Star Wars guys, but he's always telling me how good that these movies are. So I'd be down to at least watch the first one if that's the one you say is the best one. So.
Of the Kelvin timeline, I would say that it was the best one, and it was the first time I think I'd ever actually really recognized Chris Hemsworth in a role. He plays Captain Kirk's dad at the beginning of that movie.
Oh, even more
which
of
is
a reason
interesting
for me to watch it.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth was badass in that film.
Speaking of which, Chris Hemsworth did a workout video, and at the end of the workout video, he had the Thor like suit behind him. It's like teasing Thor 4, I guess.
Nice.
I was like, you hate to see it. This is how much of a shitty like Thor fan I am. Like, I hate Thor 3. Like, probably my most hated superhero movie. But I see that in the background and I'm all hyped. Like, yes, Thor 4, and I'm like, why, dude? I fucking hated that.
Absolutely. Tremble Dust says here, no shade, but if you aren't a hardcore Star Trek fan, you'd like the Abrams Star Trek films, and that's these ones here with Chris Pine. So, because again, it's an easy entry point. It's a relatively easy watch. Some high action, good actors overall for the most part. Even the guy who plays Billy Butcher, apologize on his name now. What the heck is his name? Why is it blanking on it?
Urban? Is it Carl?
Yeah,
Carl Urban. Yeah, he's in the
Carl
film
Urban.
as well as Bones. Like great cast of actors for sure. Doesn't feel as Star Trekky as some of us hardcores would like, but still fun. So yeah, let's make that a movie of the week at some point. And as I said, for everybody who here is a Star Trek fan, stay tuned. Ben Thomas Show. I'm going to do a Star Trek specific stream at some point, and we can dive into that a little bit more for sure. Guys, let's move on to some figure news here. But I wanted to start off with just an interesting exercise, and I'm kind of hoping that you guys haven't seen this picture floating around Facebook yet. Feezy, if you look at the 4 Batman cowls here, and I'm going to go round table, so before I answer, Feezy, Jose, and Eddie. On the far right, you see the real picture of Batman from the Batman film, the Pattinson Batman. And then you see the in-art prototype, the China Joy version, and the Wonder Festival version. Which one to you stands out as the best one? Feezy, I'll start with you.
Oh man. Damn. I'm gonna go with the prototype. Initial thoughts.
Prototype. Okay. Jose, what about you? And if you know the answer, don't wreck it yet.
Oh, okay.
Pretend.
Oh man, you want me to pretend and lie? Want to go with the real one?
Yeah, the real one's the best.
The prototype's good, but I think the paint sculpt is not there yet. I think it looks like it's lacking, and it looks a little bit better on the 2 other previous versions. So I'll say that because I feel like I'll spoil whatever you're trying to do here.
Fair enough. Eddie, have you seen this picture yet?
Nope. I don't
Which one do you
know.
think is the
hate-
best?
I hate when people try to get me in a scenario like this. Wonder Festival.
I have a good reason,
to
I
me
promise.
Looks the best. I actually think the prototype looks like shit when you compare them like this.
Yeah.
I think the Wonder Festival looks the best. So.
For sure. Now, this isn't my photo. I saw it floating around Facebook, and it got me, and that's the reason I wanted to bring it to the show and bring it to people's attention. So the trick question here is that technically the China Joy version and the Wonder Festival version are exactly the same figure. That's what's been confirmed. There is no difference. But in the comments for this post when it was posted, so many people were giving their opinion saying that they thought that the China Joy version was better, or why they thought maybe the Wonder Festival version was better, and on and on and on. And I thought it was an interesting thought exercise because in 6 scale, so often we look at photos of figures every single week and we scrutinize the shit out of them, right? I was thinking about my Wolverine a week or so ago when I opened that figure, and I loved the look of Hugh Jackman. I thought he looks great in figure format. But when we saw blogger photos, I was so kind of disappointed, and overblown photos or bad angles, and it just didn't do the figure justice. So the reason I wanted to highlight this to you guys specifically, not to trap anybody, but more so to just show that lighting and angle sometimes does play an incredible effect on how we perceive 6 scale. And going into 6 scale news here over the next hour of the show, I want that to be something that's first and foremost in our mind's eye, because I know so many of us get sick of hearing maybe it's just the lighting excuse for why a figure can look soft, but sometimes maybe that is actually the reason, and I thought this was a cool photo to show. So some of the news that popped up this week, and again, it's hard to know if this is your Nothing Burger news, Eddie, or not, because it hasn't been officially confirmed by Hot Toys yet, but it's looking like there was a kind of a contributor through Sideshow, one of the affiliate people, I don't know what you call them specifically, somehow ambassador, thank you, confirmed up to a certain extent that there's a second batch of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that's coming out, and that they fixed some of the web lines. They fixed kind of where on the front of the face the seam kind of goes into. On the box itself, it actually shows that seam section is actually a little bit more right between the eyes, like you see in the second fixed photo and on the right picture. But but again, it's not been officially confirmed by Hot Toys yet. So, Jose, do you think it's weird that we haven't had kind of a controlled message from Hot Toys that this is legit news? Or do you think that this is speculation turning into kind of a snowball of news and that they've actually made no changes? Last question. How would it affect the people who have already got the first batch? What are your thoughts?
I don't know how it would affect them. I feel bad for them, especially because they're paying that high Hong Kong reseller price to get it first, right? It was like really, really expensive to get it day one. And so if the second batch is better and fixed as per speculation, then I do definitely feel bad for those collectors. I don't think that they're going to be able to switch it out for something updated if it is indeed updated. It does look like it in these photos, but we don't know how accurate or legitimate they are per se. So it does look better in my opinion. I don't really see the seam as much right there at the top of the head. As you were mentioning, the lenses are in the proper place. So I definitely see some improvements there. This is indeed so the second batch fixed. So good for me. I'm getting it from Sideshow, and apparently they're getting it, at least per the speculation, they're getting the second batch. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we'll see. It's hard to believe, that they do changes, but I think they do. I mean, we can look at just most recently the Batman Begins and the whole glossy versus the matte finish. It's something that I was worried about when I was ordering my Batman Begins. So that was, and they didn't announce it. And it just tends to be something that Hot Toys don't do. They don't tell you unless it's like one of those Tony Stank situations.
Right.
They don't necessarily address issues. They just fix it. So
it seems like it would be an easy win for them to control the message a bit and actually announce it. But then on the other hand, there are those people who have already got the 1.0 in hand, who, if I were them, I would be pissed, especially if I did spend more money to get it first, right? Like, and it kind of teaches us how they treat us, right? Like what to expect from a company that way, especially for high-end collectibles. Feezy, if you were one of those people who got the first batch, how would you feel about this? If this is legit, not just a snowball of speculation, but actually a 2.0 update, is this a figure that you've got coming to you, and how are you feeling about the changes potentially?
No, I didn't. This one I skipped. I think I didn't really feel it was like one that I had to have. I already have the other two Spider-Men, Holland and Garfield, so I think those are in, and plus all the other Into the Spider-Verse ones, so I'm good on those. But sorry, I haven't been following this news too closely. So Hot Toys hasn't said if they were going to go back and send all these replacement head sculpts to those who already purchased, or there's going to be a program or process in place?
There's been nothing announced yet at all.
Okay, but that's still
which
a
is why it's
possibility,
hard to
though.
know. Yeah, definitely still a possibility, but
Okay.
that's why it's hard to know if it's just kind of snowballed speculation or
see.
if this is actually an update.
And again, I didn't get this figure, but the first, the Tony Stank head sculpt, did they just send those to people, or I mean, who requested them, or how did that work? Did they have to buy that again, or?
So that was something
it was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was addressed. And then they basically said that they would be able to go back to their retailers and send back the previous sculpt, and then you would get the new one.
Yeah, okay. So if I did get this, I guess hypothetical, I wouldn't sweat it right now just to see if that would happen. I guess I would wait. I would hold my riot gear, my picket signs in the closet until we see what happens with this. Maybe they will do that with the same situation with the Tony Stank, and they'll send this and they'll do the same thing that Jose was describing about that situation. So I would just kind of be on standby and to see what comes of that first. But I wouldn't personally be pissed right at the onset. I would probably just wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way. That is a good way to be. Don't be pissed before you know what the update actually might be, right? I was a little pissed because I was excited kind of around the Christmas time, New Year's time there when it was released, right? You see the Hot Toys post go up, released. And I'm not kidding. It had to have been like 3 hours later. I got my email from Sideshow to say, figure delayed until like March or April or something. I'm like, what the hell? Like, if it's released, why is it so delayed? Like, what is even happening? Obviously, we've got the Chinese New Year coming and stuff, so I know that tends to delay figures up to a certain extent, but it took the wind out of my sails a little bit. However, if they've delayed it because they're making changes and upgrades, then that's again an easier nut to swallow for sure. Collection Obsession, I apologize, says my Sideshow reseller confirmed that there is a second batch corrected Spider-Man head coming when I was picking up my Hot Toys Goblin figure Friday, which is interesting. So yeah, some inside insight potentially there. That would be cool. Thanks for the comment. Congrats on the Hot Toys Goblin, by the way. That's pretty cool. I know Dean on Collecting Weekly loves Goblin. What do you think, Eddie, with regards to this snowball of speculation? Do you feel like this is a nothing burger of news, or do you think there's some legitimacy here? Is this something that people were expecting and are going to be happy about? What are your thoughts?
People were expecting a second batch or them fixing it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there was a lot of people, the Rileys and the Nicks of the world out there who were really pissed that, kind of how this figure was coming out. And again, even the photo on the art box itself shows the seam lines in a different place than what was showing on the figure itself when you could see it kind of side by side.
The art box is always better than the figure is. Even with the Doc, I think the Doc looks better. Well, he looks like all like filtered out on the Hot Toys art box. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that they're fixing it. It sucks for the people that ordered first batch, but I'm sure there will be some way that they resolve that issue for you. Because I feel like all those people are gonna reach out and be like, I want the, they can't just not give it to them. They're gonna lose a lot of customers that way. So I'm sure it'll get fixed. It just teaches you to wait, I guess, even more so nowadays. It sucks because we're kind of in that period. We don't know what to do. Like, for a while, people stopped pre-ordering because things were so readily available, and now things are going on waitlist quicker. So people are pre-ordering more, but now with this happening, with a lot of stuff, you gotta wait for second batch. It's like, all right, just stick to not pre-ordering. But I do think it looks a lot better now. And I'm definitely glad that I canceled my first version and I'm waiting now for the second batch because it looks way better. But I wouldn't even have noticed half of these things if people didn't make it a big deal, like Riley and Nick on social media and other people talking about it. At first I didn't notice anything, and then I was like, oh, the seam line does kind of suck. And I didn't know what I didn't like about the original head sculpt with the nose, but I was like, the nose seems really pointy. And it's the fact that all the web lines meet on the nose, so it kind of like draws your eye to that point. Because when you look at it side by side on that left and right, the left looks way better, like
It does.
immensely better. So that's cool. I still think they could have went even further back with the seam line. Like, I feel like it should start at the back of the head and like go down the neck. That would be like the most smart, obvious thing to do. Sometimes it's like, who the heck is making these decisions? Some of this stuff should be obvious, man, but I don't know. I think it looks cool though, and I still plan to get it somewhere down the line, but I think it's definitely changing my opinion on pre-ordering. I was back to pre-ordering some stuff because of the waitlist thing, but now I think I might hold off on pre-ordering again.
It's so hard to know. It's so hard to help people even make the right choice because you're absolutely right when it comes to, they teach us that we should be urgent and we should pre-order because it might be gone. This is a figure that if you go through Sideshow was waitlisted. Yeah, people were trying to buy other people's pre-orders at like staggering cost just to try and get it in hand or take over pre-orders. And then changes happen. So then it's like, well, shit, like you said, Eddie, like maybe I'll try and get it down the line. Like if you can, great. If not, like it's hard to know. There are absolutely other avenues to get figures, not just a place like Sideshow, which is great. But again, you have to sometimes pay that higher ticket price. But then also, how would you know what batch you got if you did pay the higher ticket price? If there is a batch 1 and batch 2, there's so much more of a gamble to it. It made me laugh because Nick's Understore Collectibles said he heard his name through the Force. Yes, it's as though we were speaking of you, highly good sir, always, of course. It's nice to have people, in my opinion, like Nick and Riley out there who do have such passion for the character if it's their favorite character. I know Nick for sure himself has like done his own cosplay outfits of these outfits, and he knows them very, very well. And if the Tobey Spider-Man was my favorite character, I would probably feel just as passionate. It's why I felt so frustrated by Batman Begins when they reissued it. and they basically gave us the same shit that they did last time. I was thinking about buying it over Christmas, and when I reached out to Eddie to see what kind of customization like he did for a new cowl and a better cape and stuff, it was going to like double the cost of the figure for me. So I was like, what the hell's the point? But Batman is my favorite character, so for me it was really frustrating that they gave us kind of that watered down 2.0. So I see both sides of the fence there. I see why people should be picky, and I do think that there's just a way to go about it, right? Like talking about it, getting the word out there without it being like, this is shit, you guys suck. Like, that's not constructive. Like, give the constructive criticism, and if they don't change, I guess we're shit out of luck, like I felt with Doc Brown, with the holes in the head, you know what I mean? But when they listen, it feels like a win, and I think that in itself is worth it. Big Dog Pound says Packers 33, Cowboys 10, just in case anybody is missing the game here. X-Men Supreme says, I assume that if anyone ordered through Sideshow that they just automatically get the second batch. And that's kind of what I'm figuring, buddy. That's why I think mine was probably delayed immediately after the release announcement. But let us know, guys, if you guys feel that this is actually legit, kind of like Collector's Obsession confirmed for us. If it's still just speculation upon speculation, maybe that reseller heard it as well and it's still not 100% confirmed. If this is true and you've got a batch 1, what are you going to do? Are you going to try and get it replaced? Who are you going to chase down? What are your thoughts there? Would love to hear from you guys. Next up, League of Legends. The character, I believe her name is Ash or Ashe. Let me know if I'm correct on that from my research anyways. This figure tease has gone up. This is now the second League of Legends figure we've seen teased from Hot Toys in the video game kind of sphere. From what I can see, without being able to really see the face at all in the left picture, looks like a cool figure. Looks like, if you're a League of Legends fan, this is definitely something that she seems like she's one of the more main characters. I have seen a lot of people out there who are League of Legends fans say, what about this character? What about that character? What about this character? What about that character? It does seem like there are a lot of characters that are available if you're a big fan. So, question for you guys, and you can go kind of round table here. Is League of Legends something that you guys have either ever played or been interested in? And what are your thoughts on kind of these figure teases? Is this one that you would try to skip and save some money on? Or would you be interested if the price was right? Jose, I can go to you first, buddy.
I won't have much to say on this one. I'm not very familiar with League of Legends. They look pretty cool, but yeah, I'm not super familiar with the material. So
That's fair.
Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. Trembledeath says there are like 150 characters, and he's 100% right. I actually tried to pull up a screenshot of all the characters of League of Legends, and I couldn't fit it on the StreamYard slide.
Wow.
There was too many. You couldn't see them.
Damn.
It was like there's no point in posting that picture. Like you could not see them. There's a lot. What about you, Eddie or Feezy? Any interest in League of Legends and a 6-scale version of these characters?
Go ahead, Eddie. I'll go last.
I might offend League of Legends fans on this one. I feel like hot toy collectors like collecting lines.
Yep.
I feel like not a lot of them collect only their favorite character. So I don't know how well this line will do if they don't do those 150 characters. Or I don't even know, like maybe there's like 10 of them that are like core characters. I don't know how League of Legends works because I don't know much about it either. But also, I don't know. I feel like this could be the last one from this line that we see. I just don't see it doing well for Hot Toys. And that's not to say that there's people out there that won't buy them. I think there's definitely some Hot Toy collectors out there that aren't as vocal in the community, that even have YouTube channels that may make random collection videos and they have some random stuff in their collection. Like I would say a good reference or example to that would be Sir Thomas. He collects some random stuff, and he kind of collects just what his eye is drawn to. So I could see people like that like buying this, but I don't know if hardcore League of Legends fans are gonna get in on them, and especially if they're not getting like a full line. And I have a feeling this won't go past like even this character. Maybe, who knows? We'll see, I guess.
It'll be interesting to see. You make a good point, Eddie. Like, it'll be interesting to see who buys these, right? So Tragedy Tales in the chat here, thanks for joining in, by the way, good sir. He says I assume he he or she, I've been playing League of Legends since 2012, and I'm all in for this line. Ashe is a good choice, but there are some very cool and unique characters that I would look for, that would look wild, I should say, in 1/6 form. It's interesting because I also wonder, like, with the sheer amount of people that still do play this game, it's incredibly popular. I was looking at some of the analytics on the game itself. It's amazing how many people play it.
Yeah.
You might not even be a 6-scale collector, but see this float across the internet at some point and be like, heck yeah, that's coming to my gaming room. And not even necessarily be, as I said, a collection room in the traditional sense that we have or are aware of. So complete lines, like you said, if there's 150 potential characters, that doesn't even necessarily make sense. But I also know a lot of collectors out there who collect more than 150 characters. You know, I know guys out there that have like 300 figures in their collection, which is insane. So if League of Legends was your favorite franchise, yeah, I mean, there's a huge possibility. But again, for the millions of people that play this, if they only made, I don't know, 30,000 of these characters, they'll probably sell out still pretty damn quick with the amount of people that are actually interested, whether they're Hot Toys collectors or just League of Legends fans. Be interesting to see the analytics there. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Feezy, last there in terms of League of Legends, the character, what you see in the screen grab here, or what?
Yeah, so I'm not a League of Legends player either. I haven't played it. I'm just familiar with the game itself. But I fall into that group that Eddie was talking about, where it's just like some people have kind of like some random one-off figures in there. Anything that catches my eye, you know, that I think it looks cool or is a good figure, I'll pick up. So this, I like the design on this. This does look cool. I don't mind having, you know, certain one-off characters in my collection. Again, as long as the figure is cool. So I just gotta wait and see when it comes out. But yeah, there's, you know, globally on a global scale, this could appeal to a lot of people. And like you did before the show, Ben, I also was, because I was curious to see what the popularity is in this, and it seems like it's more popular in China and Korea. You know, obviously there's a lot of people there in those countries, and so yeah, even I think last I looked, there was about over 150 registered users for this game. So even obviously a portion of that, you know, these could sell out if Hot Toys only made, you know, like tens of thousands. So there's a potential there. I don't think they're going to do the whole line, because I didn't know how many characters there were, but just Trimble just mentioning how many there were. Yeah, that seems like a lot. I think they'll do a good amount, and they'll probably still sell well. But yeah, League of Legends in general is popular, so I was looking up more stuff about it. There's some other spin-off games. There's a spin-off animated series on Netflix, which apparently I think I probably heard about but missed, but it's called Arcane, and that got pretty good reviews. That won an Emmy, so now I'm interested to check that out. I think season 2 is going to come out. It's scheduled to release the end of this year. There's some comics going. Both, I think Marvel have published some, and then Riot Games, who are, I believe, the developers of this game, also are doing their own comics. So it's pretty popular. There's like a lot of it's spreading throughout pop culture all around, and so I think these could do well. And yeah, like I said, if this, depending on how the figures come out, I might pick up one or two of these.
Yeah, you said there's only 150 registered users. That's making Shiny laugh. It caught my attention too. What did you mean by registered users?
I didn't add the million. 150 million.
Okay,
Like,
it's like,
sorry.
That's not a lot. We're gonna sell
not,
3 of these
My
bad
bad,
boys.
What do you
Yeah.
think? So I have a question for all of you guys, whoever wants to answer. Do you think that something that has a lot of fans necessarily sells well in a Hot Toys brand line? Like, do you feel like there's more people buying Hot Toys that are fans of everything, or is there specific Hot Toy fans? I don't know how to word this question, but do you get what I'm trying to say?
I see what
Like,
you're
just
saying. Yeah,
because this IP has a shit ton of fans, like, how many Hot Toy fans want this? Is what
I
I'm
see what
trying
you're
to
saying.
say.
Yeah,
And
how
I
many are
don't feel
overlapping?
those fans will necessarily this won't do well with those specific fans, only because I hear anytime I hear anything about why someone's not getting a figure is because they're like, I don't know what to put it with.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah, I
biggest
hear
thing
that
I hear, and I don't collect that way, but I hear it the most in the community. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the fan base isn't huge. I'm saying the Hot Toy fan base isn't big for this.
So, quick response to that, then, I think, Eddie, and then I'll let you go, Feezy. My response to that would be what makes a Hot Toys fan specifically, because Hot Toys are just really cool premium collectibles. I think the problem with Hot Toys often has been that they don't have a ton of lines that they are often visiting when it comes to characters. It's Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and the occasional one-offs over the course of a year, right? And it's the one-offs where we are often kind of like, who the hell are these people? Who the hell are these characters? I think back to those like Beetleborg style characters that were in 2023. I'm having a hard time remembering what franchise they were, but so many of us were like, I've never even seen it before, so why do I care? But there was still a huge market for those collectibles needing to be purchased. I would think that right now, I agree with you, Hot Toys collectors in their current state that typically go after Star Wars, Marvel, DC might not be so interested in this, but this might be actually an attempt in Hot Toys actually trying to grow their brand, grow their availability of what is available through them, as opposed to just always revisiting the same wells over and over and getting more people involved, right? If they can get somebody who loves League of Legends to then start buying maybe Star Wars or Marvel or DC, that's also going to increase their business model. So I think it's worth the risk. But for now, I honestly think it would be more along the lines of these are like League of Legends players who want a collectible to represent their favorite character in the game. They might not even necessarily be collectors, but it gets them introduced to Hot Toys, which I think would work. What about you, Feezy? What are your thoughts on Eddie's question there?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I mean, I can kind of see that. I think a veteran, experienced Hot Toys collectors, if they're not into League of Legends, then they'll probably pass this. I think I'm probably in the minority who, if I think a figure looks good, I'm not a fan of something, I'll buy it. I mentioned Morbius earlier, but I think, I agree with what you were saying, Ben, where we also got to think about the collectors. You know, we're always getting new collectors every day, right? I'm pretty sure there is. I don't know the numbers, but this may appeal. This may be, for those League of Legends players, this may be their first Hot Toys figure. This one or the other one that came out, right? There was the previous female, right? That came out. Yeah. So I think there's only two, correct me if I'm wrong. But
there's two right now, yeah.
Yeah, so, and like in the same way that Hono Studios is kind of, it seems like they're marketing more that entry-level price to collectors of smaller scales. Maybe this is an entry point for them to come into Hot Toys type figures. I know that's a cheaper price, so this is probably going to be more expensive, but the principle being like, you know, maybe this might bring in, like you were saying, Ben, some other collectors, the League of Legends collectors, and we all know for the most part, once you buy one Hot Toys figure, you know, it's like your gateway drug that'll bring you into other lines and properties. Like, okay, I got this one. What else is out there? Yeah. So, you know, again, I mentioned last I looked 150 million. I think that was as of 2022. Even if only a million, let's say a million of those League of Legends players bought a Hot Toys, that's still like a million. And if you want to go lower, 750,000, that's still more than what Hot Toys usually makes, right? So even a small percentage of that is still a lot of sales, but that's not a guarantee. You know, like to your point, Eddie, that doesn't mean they're all gonna buy it, but even a percentage of those millions of registered users is still a good chunk of Hot Toys that they can sell.
Yeah. Definitely. And I even think about the Final Fantasy line, right? Like Final Fantasy through Game Toys. Like that's such a popular and chase figure line now because people love Final Fantasy and Hot Toys hasn't given it to us. So Game Toys or some of the other versions that are out there. And I know those are some of people's favorite figures in their collection. I was talking to Will at one point, Will Foxification, and he loves his Game Toys Sephiroth, I believe as the character name. Loves it. Like one of his favorite characters like in his collection because of the not only the construction of the character, but also the franchise that it comes from. So I do think, like you said, this could just be a slow drip, and maybe Hot Toys looking to try and expand a little for sure. But guys, let us know what your thoughts are too in the chat or on the replay. Is this something that you're interested in? I love seeing on Let's Get Nuts that we have somebody from as far away as Japan here, and Kenny Lang. Nice. Thanks for joining. Also, I'm curious, it made me think about it while we were in here. You know, I don't know where so many of you guys are from in the chat watching live. So even if you're watching on replay and the League of Legends character isn't that exciting for you, let me know where you guys are located. I think that would be cool. I'm here in Calgary, Canada. It's cool to see where everybody watches from, but watching all the way from Japan, very cool. Thanks for tuning in there, good sir. Guys, let's move on in news because we still have a few more things that I definitely want to chat with you about. I saw somebody here teasing, I think it was Niculio or one of the other guys here, that Morbius is gotta be the figure of the year, right? It's Very cool looking character. Morbius is now released from Hot Toys. And I know a lot of people were actually really excited about this, despite their not tons of affection for the film itself. I didn't mind the movie. I didn't think it was horrible. I thought it got a little bit of a bad rap kind of right out of the gate. Jared Leto for me is I'm very lukewarm on him. I actually think my favorite performance of his was in the Dallas Buyers Club as I want to say like transvestite or like drag queen. I think more so is a better way to term that. But love that character. I thought that he did a great job there. And I didn't really like him as the Joker in Suicide Squad. I thought he was okay as Morbius. I felt like the movie itself kind of plugged along really quickly. The villain plot didn't totally love, but I did like some of the effects, like kind of the like his superhero kind of effects that he had, the echolocation type style thing. The figure itself looks really detailed. The facial hair, the fangs look really freaky. The bats, I think, are repainted from the Batman figure that exists, but still, I mean, bats make sense with a Morbius figure. And I've heard people say that they'd love to pair this not only maybe with some Spider-Man figures to kind of recreate some of the comics, or even things like Dead Strange and some of the horror lines that exist. So there's a lot of possibility here. This is one I chose not to put in my basket. While I think it's cool looking, I didn't love the film necessarily enough for the nostalgic side to punch in, and I don't think I read enough comics as a kid to really truly love this character from there either, at least on the Spider-Man side. I was a lot more of a Batman comic guy myself. So for me, this is a skip, but I do think it looks really, really cool. Eddie, I'm going to go to you first this time. What are your thoughts on Morbius here? Do you think that this could actually be kind of a contender for Figure of the Year? Obviously, we're very early in the year so far, but what are your thoughts there?
I think that it has the potential to be a sick and good figure from them released this year. There's no way in hell it'll be Figure of the Year. Unless it's a meme. There's no way, because people tend to pick more based off of their feelings for the character for Figure of the Year than they actually do the character, I think. So I don't think that has a shot at all. I was one of the few super excited for this movie because I really liked the trailer, but it might just have been the music that went well with the trailer that I loved. I thought it was going to be a good movie. I absolutely think the movie sucked, so I fell asleep.
Damn.
And I had no urge to watch it again, even though I feel like he looked cool and some of the movement he had was really cool.
Yeah.
It did nothing for me, and the figure aspects of it look cool. There are some things that I feel like don't look that cool, like his hands, and this is a figure that I'd want to like mess around with a lot, and I feel like it would bug the hell out of me that I wouldn't be able to move the head like in the certain poses, because like he's doing a lot of charging movements as a vampire, and you're not gonna get him looking like, look at like that angle you can get because they're angling the camera down, right? But he should be looking dead on forward, and you're not gonna be able to do that with the figure, so that would bug me. That I know that's like a gripe, probably not for most hot toy collectors, because I feel like hot toy collectors, they're not trying to get it into like a super dynamic pose. They know that going in. But anyway, it's just something I think about. But I think the figure looks good. It's just it won't be able to do what I want it to do, so I wouldn't want to get it anyway. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
That's fair. He's got the Qui-Gon Jinn hairstyle where you can't really move it back or forward. Wait for the in art, people. Get the wait for the in art or the artisan version of Morbius with real hair on the back of his hand. You love to see it. What are your thoughts, Jose, on the living vampire himself, Morbius? Maybe the character, his appearances from the comics, or the hot toy itself? Maybe the film. Is this something you'd consider putting in the collection?
Probably not. I think he looks pretty cool as figure wise. The movie was whatever's. It was. Everyone was talking about how terrible it was, and I just went to go see it on a matinee with a buddy, and we were having a good time. So, but we laughed at the stupid things, and it was just a good time overall. And
good.
so like, it was one of those situations, and so. I could see people pairing it up with their Midnight Suns display or their Sinister Six if they want to do that, or or their zombie line. So I could definitely see that being a good aspect of many other collectors' collections. I mean, I would never say no. I don't like saying I'll never buy something, but I don't think it's something I would actively be looking for, even on discount. But you never know. I'm open to always changing my mind.
Absolutely. It is funny to me. This comment made me laugh. Shiny says, looks like Star Ace tried to make John Wick. It's interesting that the character, when he's got the prosthetics on and the makeup on, really doesn't look like the actor himself. I mean, you can't see the actor in this sculpt at all, which could be for the best, could be for the worst, depending, I guess, on what you are collecting it for. You could almost put this beside a John Wick character, or like even the most recent Neo figure, and be like, yeah, this is if Neo became a vampire, boom, there he is. It would be hard to kind of argue that point. Star Ace is just a funny call out because their sculpts are pretty terrible. But Feezy, what are your thoughts here on Morbius? Would you have liked to see even maybe another head sculpt, despite being able to see his fangs here? Is that too dynamic of a face? What are your thoughts on the figure?
Yeah, I think another head sculpt would have been nice, but if I had the option to choose, another head sculpt and pay more versus just sticking with this and paying less, I'd go with the latter there, just sticking with this and paying less. Because I think this look right here, this face is what represents Morbius more, versus like just not him as a vampire, but just kind of like stern, like a growl look. I don't think that would kind of represent him more. So I think this has more character to it. So I prefer this one. But yeah, I think overall, like I mentioned before, I'm getting this because I just like the way it looks. It's very versatile. You guys, Jose and others have mentioned, you can do this with other zombies. You can mix this Halloween display, mix with Blade. I'm getting that sideshow David figure from the Lost Boys. I can get a vampire display going. So it's just, it's just versatile and dynamic. And I just love figures like that where you can use them anywhere. And so, yeah, I like the tailoring looks good. Yeah, like I agree the hair doesn't look the best, but it's still decent. I'm thinking it's going to be like that Wonder Woman 84 Hot Toys where it's like really flexible. The bad thing is that when you turn the head, then the hair just kind of sticks up because it's angled, right? But I mean, I think there'd be some flexibility on there as far as like the articulation on the head, and I think it's going to be pretty pliable, the hair. But yeah, overall, I'm still looking forward to it. I think it still looks like it could be a fun figure. But yeah, like I think like Eddie was saying, even if the articulation is not great, I mean, he's not going to be doing any Spider-Man poses because that's just not his character. Although, I can understand people are going to be upset. They want to just actually have fun with it and get him into those weird poses just to play with it. But even then, I think even like a lot of Hot Toys figures, right? Even if you have that articulation built in, it's still going to be hindered by the clothing, right? Their suits, and sometimes you can have double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, and things like that. But if the suit is restricting it, then it's kind of pointless. So,
sure.
But this just looks like a fabric suit, so it shouldn't hinder it too much. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm digging it.
I do wonder if anybody would try and get like a custom sculpt of Jared Leto, maybe like a mid-transformation sculpt. I think that could have been kind of cool.
Oh, that could be cool.
Especially since he's so aggressively vampire mode in this sculpt in particular.
Yeah.
I think somewhere in between could have been kind of fun. Yeah, maybe a custom down the line. But it is interesting to see figures like this. This for me does still feel like one of those bargain bin contenders for my own collection. I occasionally get to go on Bargain Bin Bros on Marco's channel, 16fix, every once in a while, and we talk about figures that we would hope maybe one day are a little bit more reasonably priced and may end up landing in our basket as a result. This is one of those figures that if there was a lull in figure releases, or there was a good sale at a comic store and I was, catch me at a weak moment type of thing, I could see come to the collection, but it wouldn't necessarily be one I would chase, and potentially not at full retail. If it's then just gone, then it is what it is. I'll move on to the next cool character, but I do think it's fun. It's a fun one. Guys, we have 50 people watching live right now. That's amazing. Thank you so much for tuning into Let's Get Nuts Sunday. The show has been doing really well week over week, and I can't do it without you guys, either in the panel who help me every week, or of course the chat who shows up. I definitely love you guys. If you're just joining in now, we do have a channel membership that is available. It's called the Tough Nut Crew. Link is in the chat there if you are interested. It's $1.99 a month, and you do get some cool member badges and emojis while we chat here with the gang. But I want to stick with the custom sculpt route. Let's shout out Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is kind of a staple in the 1/6 scale community. Good dude. I've had a chance to stream with him a bunch of times. Very, very knowledgeable. If you ever have a question, he's often willing to share some advice, and I appreciate that about him for sure, especially since the 6 scale community is quite large, let's be honest. He posted this recently in the Facebook page Collector Base and says, "What male sculpt would you like to see with rooted hair?" And says here, all images taken from, and I apologize if I mess up this name, Titsu, just for convenience. There are so many wonderful hair artists out there. And this is something I want some contribution from the chat, if you guys can, as well as the panel here. If there was a figure that you would really spend the money on, what might be a figure you'd go for? So I'll give you guys some examples. So we got Qui-Gon here, of course, and Tony Stark. Both of these custom sculpts look amazing. I would be surprised if we don't see an artisan figure at some point of Qui-Gon just from Hot Toys specifically. We got a rooted Doc Brown, a John Wick on the right side. Like, look at the facial hair there on John Wick. Is crazy in my opinion. I think that's so good. The Doc Brown looks a little like he's been on crack for a couple weeks. Like, he's a little freaky looking, but still really really cool looking still either way. Look at the Brad Pitt here from Fight Club is insane. And again, what I didn't realize I needed but think is really cool is that facial hair rooting. That looks really, really good. A couple more here. We've got, of course, John Carpenter's The Thing, the man himself, McCready, in figure format. We got that figure from Mondo Toys not that long ago, but Kurt Russell is, of course, an iconic actor, again, with the hair, the coiffed hair and the beard, beautiful. The Crow is still a movie I have not seen yet, but I've got it on my pick for Movie of the Week, coming up on Collecting Weekly, not this week, but next week. So I will get a chance to see it and have a better opinion. There is a Crow figure floating around my Facebook marketplace that I can't justify buying until I see the film, but I'm tempted because it looks really freaking cool, and I've heard it's like kind of one of the first superhero movies that kind of existed, right? Which is cool. And then a final one, I put this on for Eddie because I know how much he loves Batman and Batman Forever, I should say. And of course, we're looking here at Two-Face, Harvey Two-Face from the Batman Forever film. Very cool rooting job there as well.
That hair is the wrong color though.
It's not purple in the film, from my recollection.
It's
more
magenta,
like, it's like a
magenta,
more like a pinky purple, right?
I was like, why does this look
right.
wrong to me? Yeah,
Yes, you are right. Yes, absolutely. Renz Talentino, or Tolentino in the chat. Good evening, everyone. Make sure you check out Renz's Instagram page. Some of his artwork is amazing. I've got one of his artwork pieces out in my living room. It is the Wednesday Addams from last year. Beautiful, beautiful picture. Really good guy. Thanks for joining in, buddy. So, guys, quick round table here. And again, in the chat, and I'll highlight some of your picks as well, guys. Is there a figure that you would spend the custom money on to get a good rooting job like we see here from this designer or artist?
I think Qui-Gon was a good one. That's the first one that stands out to me. I never liked rooted hair until in art, and I love it on the Joker that I have, and I'm gonna love it on Gandalf and Aragorn. But for me, I don't usually need rooted hair on people that have like even neck length hair. Like John Wick wouldn't be someone I needed rooted hair on. But then again, Joker's hair isn't long, and I got it for that. But I also think that there's something about the greasy, messy look that looks good with rooted hair. Like, out of all these, the Crow looked the best to me. Because I feel like when it's, like, just greasy and frizzy, it tends to look better with the rooted. Because there's more detail. Like, I don't feel you could sculpt those little strands, you know what I mean? So it looks better in that kind of stuff. But then the way they had Qui-Gon's, like, with the like slick back. That one stood out to me. That one looks really good. So if I had to go custom for any of these, it would probably be Qui-Gon. And then just because I love Zorro so much and I have the figure, it would be cool to see if they could do like an Antonio Banderas kind of rooted hair sculpt, see what it would look like at least. But yeah, those are going to be my picks.
Heck yeah, good choice. Robert online says Tom Baker from Doctor Who. Yeah, I can definitely see that. A couple of Thor call-outs. I was surprised you didn't say Thor, actually, Eddie, yourself. And Thor made the list. I just didn't get him in the pictures here, but that was one that this custom artist actually had shown, which is pretty cool as well. David Tennant, I could see. Ripley from Robert online. Absolutely. Good to see here, by the way, as well, good sir. What about you, Feezy? What are your thoughts? Any character, maybe a favorite character you that stands out? Doesn't even have to be in the pictures I showed, that you would pay the custom money for.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Eddie. I typically don't have any. I'm trying to think right now. I don't believe I have any rooted hair figures because I personally can do without. I'd rather, again, I don't need to spend the extra money for a rooted figure. I'm fine with the sculpted hair. But if I had to, I was trying to think as you were posing that question, which figures would I want potentially of rooted hair figures? I would probably say, I forgot which one it is, but one of I'm always throwing this out there. Someone please do the 3 Storms from Big Trouble in Little China. Any third party figures, even Hot Toys. I mean, if you're listening, but somebody. But the one with the long hair, I think would be a cool rooted figure. I don't mind the other two if they made those in the other 2 figures having sculpted hair, but. The one with the longer hair, the Storm with the long hair, I think that's I want to say that's Rain, but I can't remember. Yeah, I think that would probably be one to go to, because you can kind of see it even with their hat. They wear the hats, right? So the 2 sculpted, the 2 Storms with the shorter hair would be sculpted to have the hats, but even the one with the long hair, it kind of drapes down, and with his hat on, you can still see his hair. That'd be pretty sick. Or a Lopan, even a Lopan would be pretty cool with the long hair too. So I don't know.
Great
those
picks.
Yeah, thanks. Those are
great picks.
I know Eddie doesn't like that movie, but I'm still.
I was wondering if I told you that. That's all I could.
No,
think
you
when
did.
said
Yeah.
it.
No,
like,
I think
damn.
I don't know if you said. No, I think I heard you say it, but it's all good. No, actually, it was in our stream. Yeah, you mentioned that, and yeah, I remember having that discussion. That's right. Yeah, you did say that. But no, man, it's all good. I know it's not for everybody, but yeah, I'm just waiting for those figures patiently.
Yep. Yorved here, new viewer, I think I don't recognize the name. Thanks for tuning in. Says Ragnar Lodbrok from Vikings. I haven't seen Vikings. I haven't seen it.
Lothbrok. He misspelled it there, but it's actually Lothbrok.
Lothbrok?
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool character, though.
It's a
Something
good
worth
show,
seeing,
dude.
yeah.
It's an amazing show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Just about Vikings. And I'm sure a lot of it is just like they came up with it, but it's actual characters in history. So it's on the History Channel.
Cool. And it's funny, like it's a bit of a cop-out answer for me, but I would have actually said the Joker for me would be one that I'd want rooted, but like we've seen how that goes. So and like I was dumb enough to actually put an order in on the J&D because I'm curious to see how that's going to come out. So or redonkulous amount of money that I'm going to pay this year, and I hope I don't get scammed. Like I'm hoping it doesn't come out like French toast. But for you, Jose, I don't know why French toast would have rooted hair, by the way. That's not a Canadian thing. Just putting it out there. Jose, what do you think? Rooted hair, is there a figure in mind or a character in mind that you would look for with rooting or custom?
And this was specifically based on Bob's question about male characters, right?
Yeah,
or
it
just
could be
in
male
general?
characters or characters in general. I just thought it was an interesting posed question from Bob, and some of these photos that he shared were crazy.
So as far as male characters, I always thought it would be cool to get a Luke Skywalker with rooted hair. I thought that would be pretty cool. But right off the bat, that's kind of like the first thing I thought about. But actually, something am doing is that I've sent my Michael Myers. He has no head right now because he's getting repainted and sculpted hair. Not sculpted, rooted hair. So they're taking out the sculpted hair and they're kind of giving him a more accurate look. So
like attached to the mask where it's a little more like frizzy kind of look to it. Cool.
Yeah, this is the 1977 movie version. So
Nice.
they're working on that now. So he has no head. So we have that. And then Tina's going to be working on, in terms of female sculpts, I have Bo-Katan and Kate Bishop and Harley Quinn that she's doing for me. So
That's Tina Cruz or Tina St. Cruz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Shout out to her. I know she's been doing a great job. I know Leal has really had a really good experience with her as
Yes.
well. I'm sure she's very well booked up now at this point, but well
Yeah.
deserved as a result. Very well deserved. No, cool.
Absolutely.
No, those are all great picks. Shiny, of course, says the Mace Windu rooted ass hair. Not one I would
Alright.
choose, but I'm glad that somebody out there does. 14 Wellington says, "Don't you be besmirching French toast, Ben?" Very true, very true. I kind of want some French toast right now. And then last question before we move on to the next figure, because I want to talk about this Mars Toys Joker a little bit. Robert Online says, "I prefer sculpted hair." Fair enough. That said, did any of you get the rooted Anakin? For me, I did not. What about you guys? Anybody get the rooted hair Anakin on the way?
My brother pre-ordered it, and he said I could have that pre-order if I wanted it later on down the line.
nice.
Nice.
But I have the Attack of the Clones Anakin on order, and I don't know that I need two like Jedi Anakins. I think I'm good with the Attack of the Clones one, and then maybe a Vader.
Heck yeah. And you, Jose? No dice on the
no,
the rooted? No?
I did not get lucky on that one. No,
Getting
unfortunately.
lucky. Love to see it. Guys, let us know who's your favorite character. Maybe who would you want to see? It can be male or female, doesn't matter. If you were going to pay the custom rooting job, who would you choose? Let's take a look at this. Present Toys has given us the update on production here with regards to the battle damaged Terminator and their blade. These are the only two photos that I've seen circulating as of right now. I do think they both look pretty good. I really do see the Arnold Schwarzenegger likeness in the Terminator there, and honestly the Wesley Snipes likeness in the Blade version. I think that that's also really good. My only concerns are potentially for future material breakdown of these characters, if it is the pleather, not a leather material, but that's just the way it always goes, so that's always going to be a concern until they either figure out a better way to make that material or switch to leathers, right? But for the figures themselves, I'm happy to see that they're getting that much closer to these looking like they're releasing.
These are both supposed to have leather jackets, right?
Yeah,
don't-
from my understanding.
Yeah,
So
both have
I
the-
forgot that detail, so that's actually good though. Thank you for the call out. No, I appreciate that. That's even more exciting, to be fully honest, especially for the price point. So yeah, I'm pleased with what I'm seeing here. But what about you, Fezia? Is this something that either of these are coming to your collection? MB20 says it's genuine leather. Yeah, thank you for the heads up. Totally forgot that bit. But yeah, what are your thoughts on these little teasers?
Yeah, so I'm getting both of these personally. I think they look good enough for me, and I want to have the representation of these characters in my collection. You know, I didn't want to opt to pay for that T800 figure. You know, the prices that Hot Toys has right now. So I mean, I figured, okay, this is still again genuine leather too. That was the same for the Terminator figure, Eddie. Also, was that genuine leather? Also, was that confirmed? Okay, nice. Yeah, I knew Blade, but I couldn't remember on the T800. But yeah, so this version here of Blade was from Blade 2, and the other one, I forgot who's doing the other one, that's from Blade 3.
So-so.
Also
So-so.
So okay, that's right. Yeah, thanks. That's also going to be genuine leather on that one too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting both of these figures. I think they look cool, especially
Hopefully-
you put on. Go ahead.
I was gonna say hopefully sooner than later too, right? Because I mean, if they're at this stage, if all these head sculpts in the back, they got to be getting ready to box these bad boys up and get them out to collectors. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna have Blade there with his glasses anyways for the most part. So even if it doesn't turn out the best, I think it'll still look cool just in my collection, just having that representation there standing or in some sick pose. You know, it'd be pretty badass.
I kind of wish
Yeah.
they'd do sculpted head with sculpted glasses attached, like affixed to the head sculpt, and then another head. And they could have done like 3 heads. They could have done one with him growling and the vampire teeth and blood, maybe. Or I wish we'd see that. Maybe a custom, or one of the artists that you guys are talking about will make one that's like a 3D printed custom or something. Because yeah, the glasses on there sometimes if they don't loop around the ears right, or if they don't like make it to where they look right, it bugs me when they look like spread out over the head. But I wish they'd do that. You know, I wish they'd go the extra mile and do stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this Blade is gonna have, I'm forgetting, I think it has 2 sculpts, right? This one is gonna have like the stoic one and like more a stern one. Is that right? On this Blade,
I
and
don't
the
know. I
so-so
didn't
one
even
is-
know there was more than one. I thought it was just the one.
I knew they had two different blades from two different companies coming out at basically the same time. Present Toys, and I don't remember who even the other one was now at this point. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I remember thinking the Present Toys one looked a little better. To be honest, though, I think Wesley Snipes needs the glasses on for the iconic nature of that character.
Right. Yeah.
Or, like you said, Eddie, if he was going to have the glasses off, I would have liked to have a sculpt with him bringing the fangs out. Then that would have been kind of cool to see. Jose, are these ones that are coming to your collection at all something you were excited about, or?
I think they look pretty cool, you know, especially for the price point, the genuine leather, stuff like that. So I think it's definitely great alternatives for people that don't have these figures, don't want to pay the aftermarket prices. I actually have the unbattle damaged version of Present Toys, which is decent. It's okay. I think I've shown you a picture of it before, so it's okay. I think this one might be a recast of the Hot Toys one, so I think it might be a little bit better in terms of the likeness on Arnie. But overall, I mean, with mine, it's with the glasses on, and I mean, you know who it is, so it's like I had them on display behind me, and people would walk in and they weren't questioning it. That's not the Hot Toys version, so it's like, who cares? So
Yeah.
I think you're fine. I think this is a great alternative for those people.
It's just the lighting and the angle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. Don't worry about it. Guys, well said. Great thoughts there. Thanks for the correction on the leather. That actually does hype me up a little bit more for figure longevity and all the different climates that exist around the world. That is very cool. But yeah, let us know if you guys are getting these figures coming in. I had canceled my battle damaged Present Toys Arnie begrudgingly now that I'm seeing this, because this does look really good. But I'd canceled it because I ended up picking up the T800 from Hot Toys, the MMS 117 from years gone by. And I'm kind of at this point expecting that Hot Toys will revisit the Terminator line at some point. So I'm kind of trying to hold out. That's going to be my stand-in for Arnie as it goes. I did see, quick side note, I did see an Avengers Hulk here on my Facebook recently, and I reached out to Marco at 16Fix because I was like, hey, you got this figure, right? Is it good? Like what are your real thoughts now that you've had it in the collection for a while? And he and Eddie had done an unboxing at one point when I think he first got that figure with Gigi, which was a great video to watch, especially with Gigi's reaction on the chest hair and the ass cheeks of that character itself. And I love those guys. But when I reached out to Marco, he said, honestly, it's been in the box for a little while. It's such a big figure. And are you sure they're not going to revisit that one? And I was like, man, like, it's so true. Like, it's so hard to buy backwards now because there's always that thought in the mind of, like, if I just wait a little longer, maybe there'll be another one. At the same time, it's the first time I've seen an Avengers Hulk even available locally, basically since it sold out. So let me know what you guys think. Also, should I go after that one? I'm able to get it for $500 Canadian. It's in like basically brand new condition. I think American dollars, or as Dean would say, freedom dollars. I think it's got to be in the kind of 420 range, somewhere in that range, pricing wise. So pretty good price. I don't think I'd ever seen it below 800 Canadian dollars previously. So something to consider. Let me know. Should I do it? Do it at Hulk. Trimble says for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wait. Now, yeah. Sorry. Did you say?
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick
yeah.
before you move on.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, yeah, this blade only does come with the one head sculpt. And the prototype, he has more of a stern look. That's why I was thinking there was going to be two, because this one he looks kind of just more like stoic. But the prototype one, he has more of a stern look. And the other version of blade, that's the one where he's showing his fangs. So that's another. If you're looking for different facial expressions, that's probably another deciding factor on that one also.
Cool. Guys, we're at 2 hours and 11 minutes, and I still have 3 more things that I want to chat about today. We're going to talk about the Mars Toys Joker, we're going to talk about the Jazzinc Batmobile, and the Hot Toys DeLorean Part 3 with the red rims. Mars Toys have given us a Joker. Weird picture to choose for the first slide. I have no idea why I chose this as the first slide. Let's talk about this one here. Mars chose Joker, of course, Jack Nicholson version. Shout out to Big Bretta. Big Bretta just posted a YouTube review on this guy yesterday or the day before. Great video. Definitely gives a bit of an in-depth look at the character if it's something you're interested in or have on the way already. I'm sure that this is already long sold out. I do see collectors asking for a batch 2 from Mars. Remains to be seen whether they'll actually give that to us or not. I do think that the Nicholson likeness is very strong for the most part. They do capture him pretty well here. I do also like that they gave us the sculpt of him wiping off the human colored makeup, because that was something that I really liked about the film, was that like his skin is actually now the color of like the Joker, the white. It's not white makeup applied. The makeup is actually the human color skin, and I thought that was really good. And they give us a kind of a couple of different looks. My negative piece, and I think it's going to be everybody's, is what the hell did they do with that hat? That looks awful. The one on the right hand side, not the artistry hat or whatever. I can't remember what. I can't. There's a special word for it now. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a B. But the hat on the right, god damn, does that look really bad? Even like in his hand, it looks like a cake. Like it's just like,
Is it
what were
supposed
they
to be
doing?
wide brimmed? I don't remember what that hat is. I thought it was supposed to be like a wide brimmed hat.
So he was
wrong.
the hat looks very similar, but he's wearing a different outfit when he's wearing this particular hat. It's not actually this outfit even. It's at the kind of the final scenes of the film. This is more, I think anyways, taken a little bit more from the scene with Vicky Vale in the art gallery when he's getting ready to kind of kidnap her, and he's going around and painting pictures and, you know, having some fun. I think with some, I want to say it's Vanilla Ice music, but I could be wrong on that one. It's been a little while since I've seen it. But
Prince.
Prince,
Yeah,
thank you.
Prince.
Why am I thinking Vanilla
Party
Ice?
all the time.
Yeah,
Party all the time.
Party.
That's
Great
one of my
scene.
favorite songs, man.
Great scene. Now, alternatively as well, before I move on to the first thoughts in terms of panelists, Fizi, you also shared this with me today in terms of a comparison to what's available right now. And this is from M Toys, not to be mistaken with Mars Toys. This looks almost identical, in my opinion, to the Hot Toys version that I have standing behind me. Accessories-wise, the hat fits a lot better. Sorry, Calvin Williams is calling me right now on Instagram. For some reason, I'll check you in a second, Calvin, if you're listening. I'm like, what the hell? The money that he comes with. Now, I don't totally love the Nicholson face, though. At least with the human makeup on, I think that the Mars twist is actually a little bit stronger. But this again is, if you missed the Hot Toys version, this gives you a great option. I like the kind of the melting face coloration here as well. I think that's really cool. So both look like that they are options. Thank you, X-Men Supreme. Yes, Vanilla Ice. You know, I hate to see it. Benjamin Eugene Thomas. Weird you say that. Eugene is actually my dad's first name. It's Eugene David Filicus is his,
Never
is his
guess
name.
Ben's
Yeah.
middle name.
Right? You'll
Good
never
luck.
guess my middle
If someone
name.
could guess Ben's middle name,
So-
I would be incredibly surprised.
There you go. So, guys, Fizi, I'll start with you because you're the one that mentioned M Toys. It sounds like you're more interested in the M Toys versus the Mars Toys, but now that you've seen the Mars Toys one, do you think it's a competitor? What are your thoughts here?
No, I think these, I think they went up, or at least were announced around the same time, and so I was, you know, I was fortunate to kind of look and compare to see which one I wanted to go with, or at least the Mars Toys was still available. But I don't know, I kind of prefer the M Toys one, so I went with that one. I have that one on pre-order. But yeah, man, that when I can't remember if the prototypes for this Mars Toy, one of them showed the hat, if it actually fit correctly, but he looks like like a Jamiroquai thing going on here with that hat there.
Yeah, that's rough. That's weird.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know, maybe the M Toys, when they come out with that one, that the hat might be off, or something else may be off about it too. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm kind of, I don't know, I just like this look for him. I just preferred this one over the Mars Toys one. So yeah, this is the one I'm personally getting. It should be coming out soon too. I think the last release date they had was the last month, December of last year. But you know, we know third parties, they kind of just kind of follow their own rules. So we'll see when this comes out.
Benjamin Sugarfoot Thomas.
Sugarfoot, yeah.
Benjamin Gertrude Thomas.
Gertie.
Aloysius Thomas. Love to see it.
Aloysius, yeah.
Aloysius. Oh my God, you guys are too good. Jose, what do you think? Mars Toys, M Toys, wait for a reissue from Hot Toys if they ever do it from Jack Nicholson's likeness. What route would you go for this character?
So I didn't go for either of them. I mean, I like the museum one from Mars Toys. I think it's pretty good, and then the final result in terms of the likeness to Jack, I thought was really, really strong. So I think I would prefer that one. M Toys, I'm not that familiar, so I'm not sure how good it'll end up. I mean, it looks okay, but I'm not sure how it will finally, you know, the final results on that will be compared to Martor. You know, they have more of a good reputation with the latest figures that they've been releasing. The Mr. W, the Bruce Wayne figure, and the tuxedo looks pretty good as well. So I didn't get either one of those. I was considering the original classic recast of the '89 Joker when they did it, Mars Toys, but I just never got it. So I don't know. Maybe they'll do. Hot Toys will go back and do a 2.0, but I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things with the likeness to to Jack, and perhaps that's stopping them from doing so, and that's why third parties are taking advantage. But yeah, we'll see.
Good to know. Low-key Collector here is also inadvertent call. Was talking shit on them boys and hit the wrong button. Fair enough. I was like, Loki never calls me, so is something wrong? Are you trying to get in the chat? What's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening? Dirk Diggler's stunt double, man, you must be very impressive, says, I'll wait for in-art. Sounds good. And 14 Wellington, Ben-Hur Thomas. Love to see it.
Does anybody... I hate to be the guy to point this out, but I am that guy that points this stuff out. On the left, the way his face looks, because of the chemicals in it, he looks kind of, I don't know what the PC word is. He looks kind of special there. Go back on the left.
Yeah.
And then the way they put his arm behind it kind of looks like he's picking at his butt.
And happy about it.
And I'm like, dude, what kind of pose was this, man?
Yeah, that is kind of
They messed this up.
That's funny. Would you pick either of these, Eddie, or would you wait for a Hot Toys reissue? What are your thoughts there?
I really like the suit that he's wearing when he's in the art museum, and I love this, man. I missed it, but I think the head sculpt, man. I don't know that there's a better third party company that gets head sculpts this good, like better than Hot Toys. It's crazy. This already has potential to be the best head sculpt of the year for third party. So is this sold out already?
Freaky. I think this one is sold out, which is why people are asking for a second batch. I could be mistaken.
I definitely, if they did a second batch, or if I found a way to get it, I'd get this one for sure. I like it that much. Like, that to me is like a 10 out of 10 Jack Nicholson likeness, and the fact that it looks like he's wearing makeup, they painted that well. Like,
beautiful.
It looks like he's wearing a cover up or whatever. So yeah, I like that a lot.
Well, and I do have the Hot Toys version behind me, and I will still say, like, for the age of that figure, it is one of the best Hot Toys likenesses I have in my collection. And it's, like, as I said, it's got to be 10 years old now, in that neighborhood anyways, maybe even longer. So
I had a chance to get the DX09, or which, that old Hot Toys
DX08.
Where he's in the purple suit?
Yeah, that's the one.
I had a chance to get that one a while ago, and I missed.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, and the speculation, kind of like we said earlier, is that it doesn't seem like Jack Nicholson's very easy about his likeness rights. It'd be hard to know if we'll ever get that one again. I think we probably would have already heard about it by now, especially with the reissue of the Keaton Batman coming. Yeah. So I just
also though, when he passes, like, God forbid, like, I love Jack Nicholson, don't want that to happen, but also things can change with the estate, and like the family could change their mind.
That's true.
That could happen.
Point. Yeah.
It's true. He's going to be up there now. He's I think at least in his 70s now. I would think maybe even.
And
older,
he lives life, man. This guy burns the candles, so hey,
as he should.
Both ends, yeah.
As he should. YOLO, right? That's what the
YOLO,
kids say nowadays. So this mask that comes with the Mars Toys version from his beaten up girlfriend, though, is kind of like really freaking creepy. They did this really, really well. So I will say, Jack. You know how she said, oh my god, oh, it freaks me out every time in that movie. But let's stick with the Keaton universe, because
Jack is 86 years old.
86 years old. Well, there you go. I mean, it makes sense because I'm already almost 40, so like, holy God, like, where's the time going? Oh my God.
Almost. That's a stretch. Get out of here.
36. I'll turn 37 in June. Right? We'll have a birthday celebration maybe on Let's Get Nuts or something. We'll have some fun. But I turn older and grayer. Guys, Keaton Universe, Jazzinc dioramas has had kind of what I want to say is almost like their first blogger photos really truly ever come out. Typically they kind of show their own photos, a little bit of their own pending releases, and they had I can't remember the artist or the photographer. I apologize. I'd give them more credit if I could. Let me know in the chat. Six scale poser or something like that. That does sound very very correct. But
his real name is Anthony.
Anthony, thank you. They went out and took these photos for Jazzinc, and they did a great job not only on the photos, but also kind of showing what this car is going to look like. Now, my FOMO meter kicked in because I immediately was like, I kept seeing the posts of this is the last day to pre-order. You know, if you're going to want to lock it in, this is the time, blah, blah, blah. So I went to the Jazzinc website, and it was looking like, I believe it was $14.99 American. That doesn't include shipping or Canadian conversion. So when I kind of worked all the math, I figured it was going to be somewhere for me anyways of about $2,200 Canadian, which I was like, that's aggressively steep. However, it's the Batmobile. It might be the best one that ever exists. This might be the time to get it. And so, but then I started thinking back to my DeLorean that I'd got a couple of weeks back and how I had to actually buy a whole new TV stand just to be able to slot it in. And so I decided to look up the measurements of this guy. And this is a solid 4 feet long. It's too big for the TV stand that I now have already purchased. It's quite a lot larger, longer-wise, absolutely, lengthwise, than the DeLorean. And while absolutely amazing, there is still the Hot Toys version that is also 2.0 and coming out at some point, which is a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. And I think for the person who's not necessarily an absolute expert on these vehicles, still a great offering. But these photos from the blogger for Jazzinc have really highlighted some of the beauty of this vehicle. So either in the chat or in the panel here, did any of you guys decide to actually pull the trigger on this one? Why or why not? And what are your thoughts on the alternative being the Hot Toys 2.0? Feezy, I'll start with you, buddy.
Yeah, I pass on this one. I just pass on 6-scale vehicles in general just because they're too big for my collection. They just take up a lot of space, and I'd rather have more figures than vehicles in there personally. But I did want this some sort of representation in my collection, so I actually got the McFarlane version, and that's good enough for me. So I have that, and I have the Mezco Batman to go with it. And so I think that's, as far as that having a Batmobile or vehicles in general, I kind of go for like the smaller scale. But yeah, I wanted some representation of that. But it all looks good. I haven't followed, because I'm not getting it, I haven't followed too closely on what the differences are between this one and the Hot Toys one. I just kind of hear people, saying what their thoughts are on this. But just looking at these photos and others I've seen, it looks pretty good.
It does look really, really good. The price is, again, a different echelon of collector in a lot of ways, or just that collector who's willing to sacrifice a couple Hot Toys this year, maybe because the vehicle itself means something to them. That nostalgia of the vehicle itself is so beautiful. It's such a nice car, and like so iconic, right? And with the reissue of that Batman coming out, like if you have a display that can fit this, I'm jealous. I had to decide not to because I was like, I don't honestly know where I would put it. I don't have space in this apartment for garage shelves. I have seen that this should fit on the quote-unquote Costa case garage shelf thing that exists. I think, Eddie, you had made one, something similar very recently, right? So it would fit on something like that, it sounds like. The larger version, I think it's the 48-inch one, is the one that you need if this was one that you were choosing to get. But also, Jazzinc, typically once they sell out, these things go up even higher in cost and are virtually impossible to find on secondary. So, Jose, what was your rationale for this vehicle? Is it something you decided to get or not? And versus the Hot Toys, any thoughts there?
I just wanted to confirm. So it looks like the Jazzinc is 43.5 inches, which is 110 centimeters in terms of length. And the Batmobile is listed as 100 centimeters, which would be about 39.3 inches. So just for clarification there. In terms of the Batmobile, I did want one, but I did not elect to get either. I was kind of just waiting and seeing. The Batmobile is waitlisted. The Hot Toys version is waitlisted, and I did not put a pre-order on it. So, and I don't think I'll be able to put a pre-order on this one. Just, financially, I'm not sure I can at the moment. But
fair.
We'll see. We'll see. I do want a Batmobile eventually, but spacing, where am I going to put it, things like that. So, I want one. I just don't know yet.
Fair. Even the Hot Toys one for me was too big for the TV stand that I just bought. I'm like, oh my god, what would I do? Where would I put it? I want it so bad. Yeah. Where would I put it? The price point on the Hot Toys one was significantly better, though. I think I remember seeing it at $799 or $800 and somewhere in that range. So you could almost get two of the Hot Toys ones for the price of the Jazzinc. I don't know if it's double the improvement or not, but again, some of the folks out there, I know Low Key Collector has, I think, at least one, if not more, Jazzinc vehicles. It sounds like X-Men Supreme here is also very interested. Can't get another Batmobile knowing this is out there. I respect it too much. Yeah, like, fair enough. This is the best thing ever, and I'm so ready for this. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm loving the excitement that collectors have. And I mean, some of the bits and pieces that it comes with look really good, including the rising stand, which helps it kind of rotate in the movie, right? I think that's a cool little inclusion. Eddie, I know you've got your garage shelves, so this is something that you could potentially consider for a collection if you had the space. Is it something that you were able to justify to yourself? Yes or yes? Yes or no? Like, what were your thoughts there on Jazzinc?
I have space for one vehicle. And the only one that I pre-ordered and canceled and had a chance to pre-order again, and I still want it, but just the price is the issue. But is the 95, like, or the the 95? I'd much rather have the Batman Forever Batmobile
with
like,
the blue lights on the inside and stuff.
Not because, well, I will say I like it more, but more because it's nostalgia, not because it's a cooler vehicle. Because this one is also nostalgic and cool, but I just rather have that one, and I don't have it on pre-order. But the thing, I'd like to have this too in a perfect world where I can have more. I would have this too. I still don't know if I'd get the Jazzinc one. Look, I know we all love them, and I'm not hating because I love that they do stuff that people want. But like the price point mixed with some of the things, some of the communication you get when you have issues, like I can't overlook those things sometimes. I know people say like, oh, wait for the second batch and they're usually better, but even if they do have issues, I wouldn't, if I'm paying that much, I want everything to be perfect or replaced perfectly, and like I just wouldn't want to deal with any of that. So that's the thing that I hesitate with Jazzinc. And I know like that's the thing with the 95 one, I'd be willing to risk that because I don't think I'd get that anywhere else. But this one, you're going to get it somewhere else. So it's like, that's would be my rationale for it anyway. So.
Oh, that's fair. And you said it was the Batman Forever vehicle. If you were going to choose one, that's the car you think you'd go with.
Yeah, I'm still hoping that it'll be available by the time it's ready to ship. Or I'll find it from someone that that's willing to part with it.
For sure. And I mean, yeah, like X-Men Supreme's challenging a little there, Eddie. I would challenge in a similar vein. I've thought so far that Yost's customer service has actually been pretty good. I know that there's been some complaints, and it seems like he jumps on them pretty quick. He looks into kind of batch numbers. He does make things like replacements available or full refunds available. While I do agree that would be a headache, especially with something that's just under 4 feet long, like, man, trying to send this back and get another one would be a pain in the ass. I do, from what I've seen, seems like the guy's got pretty good service. Even collecting weekly, a couple weeks ago at New Year's, we had our collector awards, and Yost was the only one who actually customized a video for us and sent it in to say thank you for his inclusion. So again, I think his involvement with the community seems like a collector himself. He does make his rounds on other 6-scale channels. Maybe the channel here is big enough. One day we can invite him into Let's Get Nuts. That would be cool. But I do think for the most part, he seems like he's given pretty good service there. Gotham Cenobite says, evening guys, with a Jumbo, good to see you here, buddy. Flex upon flex here. 12-inch Moose Stream says, I have the Jazzinc 66 Batmobile, 89 Batwing Snowspeeder, 22 Batmobile in hand, the 95, the Bat Cycle on a payment plan. Holy crap. You are going to need a whole 6-scale garage, good sir. That is freaking awesome. When you're ready, Moose, if you're ever interested in jumping on, you can always come on and show us the collection at some point, or send me some photos and I will put it up in our Let's Get Nuts segment. But great takes, guys. It sounds like the community is pretty excited about this one. Congratulations to everybody who locked this in. I don't think you're going to be disappointed, and I know my FOMO meter is going to be ridiculous once I see this in people's collections.
I got a challenging question there for Ben. Just for, is this Batman? Would you say like this is your favorite Batmobile? This is your Batman, or would you say it's not?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that. So it's my favorite Batmobile, but Christian Bale's Batman is still my favorite Batman in terms of the Dark Knight. Keaton would be very close to like next in line though. Like it's just, I think, like, for me, the Keaton Batman has more of the nostalgia added to it. Like, that's what I watched so much as a kid. He was my Batman as a kid. But Christian Bale has been my Batman as like a younger man, an adult. He represents so many times, great times with friends and everything that I had when the Dark Knight series was out, or Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, that for me, that's still my favorite Batman. But in terms of the vehicle, I always liked this Batmobile much more than the Tumbler. As cool as the Tumbler was, this to me was a Bat vehicle, a Batmobile. You know what I mean?
So financially, why did you think it was like you're willing to take the risk on the J&D Joker, but not like a Jazzinc product like this?
Yeah, well, just because the Joker is technically then my favorite character of all time. So if I had to eliminate every piece in my collection for the most iconic version of a character that's my favorite, the Heath Ledger Joker is my favorite character. I love The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time. So when I saw the likeness to Heath, I feel like I've been chasing a good Heath Ledger since I got into the 6-scale game. Even the DX11 Joker that originally came out from Hot Toys, I bought that for $1,000 Canadian a couple of years ago because I wanted that Joker in my collection. And then the InArt came out and I bought that one, and now the J&D came out and I really like the likeness there, and I'm like, so I bought that one. I gotta stop buying Jokers because I make fun of Marco for that, but like, I gotta stop. On the other hand, it's my favorite character, favorite villain, so worth the money. Whereas while this is still absolutely my favorite Batmobile, it was more about how much footprint it takes up in the collection. It was the where would I put it? How would I even display it? If I still had a house and hadn't had to sell my house this last year, maybe a different story. But living in a 2-bedroom bachelor kind of style apartment, I just don't know where I would put it. Is that enough reason to get it and put it in the closet until I have a future collection room? Maybe, but I couldn't justify it. So at least with another Joker, I can slip it into the collection pretty easily and keep collecting. So hopefully,
and if you do like the
question.
and if you do like the J&D better, would you still keep your InArt figures because it's your favorite character, or would you?
No, I would sell it. In fact, I've even thought about selling the DX11. One of the reasons that I decided to keep the DX11 was because of the table and the lamp and the chair and everything that it comes with. Lots of great accessories there. While I really like the InArt, I've never thought that the face sculpt was perfect on it still. And the jail cell diorama is very, very cool, but it does take up a huge amount of space. So if I could get, at least my money back for that figure at some point, that would be probably what I would try to do. But I don't want to risk selling the InArt until I see what the actual final J&D looks like, because as of right now, the InArt is still by far the best Joker that I have in the collection as of today. So I wouldn't want to sell it until I know what that final J&D looks like, but at that point, it might be too late. It'll diminish in value, just like the DX11 did. It was going for $1,000 very consistently. Then InArt came out and it literally dropped to like $400 on the resale market. Like you practically have to give it away at this point, which is a tough nut for sure. Tremble Death says, which SKU J&D did you get? I got the Class A one, so I just got the single figure with the more stern-looking face. I didn't like the smiling sculpt that they gave. I didn't think it was enough of a laughing sculpt to justify it, and I didn't want another 2 sculpts floating around the box. For the price point, the Type A I think is still the best one for sure. Loki says, Ben, the answer is anywhere you please. No one to nag or complain. You're not wrong. I don't have to report it to anybody, that's for sure. Except for myself, when I look at the bank account and decide I'd have nowhere to put this except for the middle of the living room. The cat can ride around in the Batmobile. But guys, we got one more topic. We're running a little long, so I want to jump into this last piece before we wrap the show here. The DeLorean 3.0 is now out. I've seen some collectors out there say, wow, this feels like it came out of nowhere. To which I respond, wow. We got the Back to the Future 3 figures, and in those solicitations of those figures specifically, they teased them riding around on the car, which is one of the pictures that they've now shown with solicitation of the actual vehicle itself. So I did not feel surprised at all. This was one that I actually put on my top 10 hope for 2024 list. My video kind of at the beginning of the year of what vehicles I was expecting or characters I was expecting. This is one of those ones that I was expecting, and boom, here it is. I don't predict things accurately very often, so I was like, yes, got one. It was kind of exciting. But, in terms of the vehicle itself, like I just told you guys, I got just recently the DeLorean Part 2. in my opinion, to my own heart and to my own nostalgia, that is still the most iconic. While the first film represents the origin of Back to the Future, and that first DeLorean is stunning, don't get me wrong, I always really liked the second film, having them go to the future, seeing what the future could look like in 2015, seeing flying vehicles, all of that kind of cool shit. And because the DeLorean Part 2 gives you the ability to, rotate the wheels and make it look hovering or flying, as well as having kind of a road-worn version of the car, to me that's my definitive. I'm not a Denobi. I don't need all three vehicles. I'm sure guys like that will get those. Good for them, or good for other collectors that have a chance to do so. I don't think you could have a filled out Back to the Future display without having the third car if you love the third film. Like, they go hand in hand. They need their car. So I was excited to see this. I think some of the updates that they've given are really cool. I like that you can swap out the wheels for the train track version, as well as the red rim version. I think the only other piece that I'll say with regards to the DeLorean Part 3 is that of the three films, I felt like the DeLorean played the least impact in the third film as it did to any of the other movies. They get it out of the cave, they put it on the track at the end. Then, of course, Doc turns a train, spoiler alert, into his kind of next time vehicle. I felt like of the characters of the first and second film, the DeLorean was a character of those movies. Whereas in the third film, it was kind of just there as a plot device to finish the movie off. And I didn't love that about the car in that movie. So for me, it's a skip. But again, for the people who loved either Back to the Future 3 or have those figures, I do feel like this is a must-have potentially for those collectors. What are your thoughts, Jose, on the DeLorean Part 3?
I think it's a pretty cool thing for those collectors that, like you said, that want to have all three versions, and they they released those Western Part 3 Marty and Doc figures, so people felt that they really wanted this version to be released. I'm glad for those people specifically. Again, I don't have any vehicles other than the Falcon that I've told you about before. So I don't have any vehicles. If I wanted to get one, I think I would get Part 2 because I think that's my favorite version of it. But even then, I didn't get it because I don't, spacing like you were mentioning for you, same thing for me. It's in terms of space. So don't have a space for it now. So I don't. It's not something I'm looking to get into the collection. And again, if I were to get one, it would probably be Part 2. But I'm happy for collectors to have the option to have all three. And I know Martoys is doing additional Docs and Martys for the other Back to the Futures movies. So you'll have options. There's even a Biff that they're making, and so it's like. I'm glad for the hardcore Back to the Future fans. I think I still will say that the first one is my favorite, and I do like Part 2, but Part 3 has always been one that it's like I've watched it once or twice. So, but like I said, very cool.
Very cool, very cool. And as I will admit, the DeLorean Part 2 is the first 6-scale vehicle I've ever owned. So I really didn't know what to expect until I pulled it out of the box and turned the lights on and everything. And it was one of the coolest unboxing experiences for Hot Toys I've ever had. I can see the hype behind 6-scale vehicles a lot more than I ever could before. Fizzy, what about you, buddy? What are your thoughts on Back to the Future 3, maybe the film itself, as well as the car in that movie? Is that one that you'd want to chase down?
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen all this talk about this. It's making me want to go back and watch the third one again, or all of them. But I think 2 and 3 are probably have to say my favorites. I want to say 2, and then really close would be 3. So again, I'm not planning on getting this vehicle or any 1/6 vehicles as of now. That may change in the future, but because of space. But if I had to pick, I personally like this one more than the second one. Again, the second would probably be a close runner-up, but this DeLorean, just because I'm typically one who likes kind of things that are not as common, that are a little different, kind of like unique takes, right? So I think this just has more character to it, and I don't know, just because it's kind of represents the period there we're in, right? And it's like makeshift type of thing, which is, I don't know, I just like that. That's cool. I like the options, like Jose was saying, between the you can swap out the white balls tires and then the tires for the train tracks. So that's cool. I think I think this looks cool. If I were to pick one, this would probably be the one I would go with here.
Heck yeah. Eddie, I can't even remember if you are a Back to the Future fan, honestly. I can't remember how much we've talked about it, even in past shows. Is this one that you would consider? I know you were saying you'd only maybe get a Batman Forever vehicle if you had one slot, but this is still pretty cool. And if the Back to the Future 2 car is now gone, would this be one you'd consider down the line?
Okay, I meant Batmobiles.
Oh, I see. Good
I've
clarity.
tried to get.
Okay.
I've been contemplating getting the Mark II DeLorean for the longest time, but the Mark II is the most iconic and nostalgic for me. The flying version, especially, just because I grew up in California, and we went to Universal Studios a lot, and there is like a scaled down version of the DeLorean flying in at the end of the ride.
Yeah.
When they used to have Back to the Future there. I don't know if they have the ride there. I haven't been there in a while, but there was when you go to the end, you could see the DeLorean flying, like hanging, or it was in a display case or something. Like in the shop, there's like a collectible shop at the end of every ride. But anyway, so I would definitely love to have that in my collection. So that was also one of the ones I was thinking could go on top of my case. So I would get that if I found a good enough deal, or if I had an opportunity to get it. But I still think it's cool that they did 3, because I think this is like there are a lot of people I think that want 1, 2, and 3. So you could have, the driving, the flying, and then the train tracks one. That's really cool. And I think it's cool when Hot Toys does stuff that you think they would have never done. So that's what's cool to me. And I think there's a lot on this DeLorean that makes it look like more of a time machine, right? Like more of a time machine and less of a car. Like it has all that stuff on the hood, and it just has a lot going on. And I like the white wall tires. There was some miscommunication about that on LWO, white wall tires. But
just giving you shit.
it's cool. And then I think this is how I would have it posed. I think it's stupid that a car has the freaking reins or whatever. That doesn't make sense. But I think that's how I would have it posed. And it's cool that they did the figures, and you could have the car with it now too. I think it really, you could have arguably one of the most rounded out displays for Back to the Future with Hot Toys. That's insane, because you don't get that often. Like to have a completely rounded out display with something from Hot Toys. That's really cool. So.
Heck yeah. Well said, Eddie. And we got 6 Scale Mafia here. Already a member for 1 month. Thank you of the Tough Nut crew, says, must have all DeLoreans. Totally, man. In fact, I don't know if you missed the beginning of the show. I said to the Star Trek community that we might need to have a Star Trek live stream at some point. I know we've been talking about it a little bit back, on Messenger. I almost called it MSN, my God, on Messenger. But we got to make that figure, we got to make that happen. There's a lot of Star Trek fans out here, and none of these panelists today were Star Trek guys. You hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it. But thanks for joining, buddy. Eclectic Collector says, I agree. I would want a time train. And I saw somebody ask earlier if they thought Jazzinc would make the time train or not. That thing would be so freaking big, guys. Like, where would you put that in your? You could ride it to work. Where would you put it? Like, it makes no sense. But I mean, it would be cool. It would be cool. I will give you that. At least maybe it would have to just be the train engine at the front. But even still, it's crazy. But 6 Scale says, 6 Scale Mafia says, let's make it happen. Live long and prosper. They never are. So true. Shame on those non-Trekkie guys. Guys, 2 hours and 45 minutes in. I've taken enough of your Sunday. We've definitely got nuts today. One thing I will quickly highlight, since one of our members was just mentioning, and I see quite a few of you members in here now, just a reminder to the 50 people watching live, we do have custom emojis for the Tough Nut crew. Anything nut related, if you guys have requests once you become members, I will definitely look into it. I know I had a request for Ghostbuster nuts, so stay tuned maybe for that. Nutbusters, I think, was the coined term, so look for the Nutbusters. If you're interested, it's $1.99 to become a member on the Tough Nut crew. We now have 20 members already. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. These are some of the emoji badges that will show up beside the name. as you progressively stay longer and longer. Most of us are becoming Bat Not Begins, but we still have a few up-and-comers in there as well. I will post the link right now into the chat if you guys are interested in that. Let's quickly highlight the members here themselves. We've got the Tough Nut crew being Elvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, Six Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob Square Balls, _Empire Strikes, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, 14 Wellington, and Jose G. Hernandez as of today. Love you guys. Thank you for becoming members and supporting the channel. I definitely appreciate it. We'll put those dollars into giveaways. I'm looking at doing a collector or a member giveaway at my 3,000 mark, as well as a overall Let's Get Nuts giveaway. Stay tuned for that. The channel as of today is 90 subscribers away from 3,000. So it is doing very, very well there. Am I frozen? Are you guys still seeing me? Okay.
No, you're good.
Yeah, am I frozen?
Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
Oh, Ben.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I can hear you guys now. I think
good.
I'm my internet's tripping out a little bit.
No, you're good.
You're still
good.
We're still here. Uh-oh. Ben, don't go. We're here. Testing. Testy. Nutty.
Okay, everything's freezing
Wow.
on my end. You hate to see it. Yeah, I can hear you, Feezy, briefly, but I know what's going on.
Yeah.
The nut stream is crashing. You hate to see it. We got 12-inch Moose Stream just became a member. Thank you, good sir. I will add you to our list here very soon. This is janky as hell. I love you guys. Quick roundtable, Feezy, if you can hear me, tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, so I'm at Feezy's Figures on YouTube, and I also have my other channel, Feezy's Media. Same thing on Instagram. I know I've been MIA because I've been the holidays, and I've been recovering from being sick. That was pretty bad. So content to come soon. Just stay tuned. Keep an eye on the socials and the YouTube notifications. But yeah, I'm planning on streaming again soon. Thanks again for having me, Ben.
Absolutely. I think I'm still lagging like crazy, but I could hear you say that at least. So heck yeah, definitely go follow Feezer's Figures. Some of the comments right now were amazing. We got a nutcore breach. Everyone get out of here. Grow nut. Oh my God. Smoothest ending of a show ever. You hate to see it from Mike LaTorres. Yeah, you hate to see it. I'm all flushed and red in the face now. So embarrassing. You hate internet issues. Jose Plus. I know you've got a new Instagram set up. Where can we find you, buddy?
Yeah, just look up the Jose Plus Network, I think I called it. That's where I'm going to be posting my collection photos. I haven't done anything yet, but I'm going to. So most of my collection stuff's going to be on there moving forward. I mean, you can still find me on my other Instagram, but it's just my family bugs me on that one. So you can find me on the other one. Usually on Mondays, I'm on the Hope Show with Shane, but Shane told us this morning he was under the weather, so there won't be a show tomorrow. So I'll be here next week. As long as everything works out, I'll be here next week with you.
Heck yeah, buddy. Well, I appreciate you coming back as always, for sure. Thanks for always joining in and putting up your hand early. Always appreciated. I do want to extend the invite to the chat as well. There's a lot of people here that watch week over week. I know guys like Mike LaTorres have been on other streams. I know guys like Yomo have been on other streams. If you guys are very interested, hit me up on either Instagram or YouTube. I'd always be happy to bring you in for a Let's Get Nuts show and switch it up a little bit and have a couple different people as well. 12-inch Moose Stream says, I am a member. You'll love to see it, buddy. Thank you for that. Eddie, last of course but not least, you also have a new Instagram, I believe. Where can people find you now, buddy?
Yeah, Instagram I post on the most, at least in the stories, just of new figures that I get and posing and stuff like that. And so that's Instamade Media on Instagram, and the YouTube channel's Made Media. I put up videos once in a while. I did a review recently of a figure that I got that was pretty cool, so I still don't know what videos or what that'll be in the future, but I upload randomly on there. And then all over YouTube, as far as like Fridays LWO, Sunday with Ben, Tuesday on Collecting Weekly, and sometimes Thursday on Small Talk. But also last Thursday I did a movie review of the Iron Claw with Casual Nerd Problems. It was on his channel, that was a really good movie review. So if you guys are into stuff like that and you like that movie, or you're interested in checking it out, check that out if you can on Casual Nerd Problems. And then we're doing another movie review on Monday of Hear No Evil, See No Evil, or See No Evil, Hear No Evil. I forget which one comes first, but it's an old Richard Pryor movie.
One's
Richard
a porn,
Pryor.
one's a movie.
And it's really funny. So if you guys
Wild.
haven't seen it, like, watch it and then join in the chat with us, or you know, at least hear our thoughts and then watch it. But it's a really good movie. So yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. I don't want to take any more of your time. Get back to your Sunday evenings. Thank you so much for watching. There's still have 40 people literally live. We had 50 up to one point. I think we were up as high as 55 watching live at one point. You guys are amazing. You honor me with your presence. I love you guys. I love your faces. I love the pen. I love the chat. Feezy, once again, with that said, we got nuts. Have a great night, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.